Hey, thanks for checking out the Ham and Spam Retro Review. If you like what you hear, please remember to subscribe, leave a like, or leave a comment, whatever platform you listen to this on.
And also remember, there's always additional content on our website, hamandspam.com, where you can find links to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy it.
For even more content, check out our friends Nick and Brandon over at their podcast, Talk or Go Home. Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 31. I'm super stoked for this one. Hammy, what is our game this week?
It's Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time for the SNES.
A fantastic game.
Absolutely.
Probably a top 10 NES game, for sure.
Well, it wasn't on NES. So.
I mean, SNES game?
For me, yeah.
I believe so too. Very iconic. This is the one game I remember playing the most with you outside of Donkey Kong Country.
Well, I've owned this game since 1992.
And you still have that copy of the game?
I still have that copy of the game.
Because your Super Nintendo got sold at one point, but somehow or another you still ended up with Turtles 4.
I still had some games at home.
Okay.
And that was one of them.
Well, cool. That's neat. Without further ado, let's just jump into it. Turtles 4, 1992, SNES. This port from the
arcade version.
Yep, that was in 1991. Little minute differences. We'll get into those. Do want to say on the front side, being a Sega guy, I never played Hyperstone Heist, which is supposed to be the comparable. I'm using air quotes, and you can't see me. The comparable version of Turtles in Time for the Genesis, but it's inferior. I'm just going to go ahead and call it. Just in reading it, just in seeing the gameplay. Even though I've never played it.
Played it. What I've read about it, no, this is the better game easily.
Of all of them, which is surprising. So, anyway, let's get into it, Hammy.
All right. All right, so from the get-go, turning on the game.
That classic Konami screen.
Yes. And then the classic Turtles cartoon.
The theme song from the Turtles cartoon. I was kind of, a little disappointed in that they're busting through the sewers like they did in the original arcade game. But I get it, too. I mean, it's how else you're going to introduce the game.
Yeah.
So,
comes on and it just very quickly tells you who the Turtles are.
Right. Gives a brief description.
Which if you don't know, then I don't know.
Well, if you don't know who the Turtles are, then, obviously you can go back to our other Ninja Turtles 2 arcade for NES and listen to that a little bit. But one of the things that kind of grabbed my attention, and rightfully so, is the flashing lights as they're introducing the Turtles.
Yeah, we've got it playing, and every now and then the flashing lights comes on, and I black out for a little bit.
Oh, that's funny.
But what I liked about this was it had a lot of options.
Yeah. One player, two player, obviously.
Yeah, but like you could choose how the Turtles looked. You could go for the cartoony look, where they're all the same shade of green.
Right.
And
the animated, I believe it was.
Yeah,
and
then you go with the comic look, which is also matched the toys.
Right. Yeah, we mentioned that the other day because I remember I can see the flashing light on the wall across from us. But whenever I had the action figures, I had the mutating action figures, and they were all the different shades. Like Donatello was always like a brownish shade. Like he's not that in the game necessarily, but I always remember Donatello being more of a brownish shade. Did you?
Yeah, he was like a darker hunter green,
right? So,
which is weird because they're all brothers.
but Leo had, I guess, just a
It's like, guys, the weapons and the different colored bandanas aren't enough. We need something else to differentiate.
Right. So, but yeah, real quick, the four turtles, you all named after Renaissance painters. Leonardo,
my favorite.
Michelangelo, who was as a kid my favorite. Raphael, and Donatello, who is probably now my favorite. Just, I don't know, a bow staff's kind of hard to get around. You can do a lot of damage with a stick.
Got some reach. And we played through this game last night.
Oh, absolutely.
And during the course of it, I found out something I didn't know.
Well, there was two things you didn't know. First of all, there's actually a cheat code for this.
Yeah, I never knew there was a cheat code.
And it's the Konami cheat. It's a little with a spin on it. Like controller 2 puts in the Konami code, and then controller 1 hits start. So it's up, down, back, forward, BA, start. But the controller 1's hitting start.
I like to call it back, forward, instead of left, right.
You can blame Mortal Kombat for that.
I can. But what if you're on the right? Forward, back.
Yeah, well, forward toward the opponent. So, yeah, I guess it is left, right, but it's always forward, back. I don't know. Stupid Mortal Kombat.
But you get to choose. I thought you were just choosing how many continues you could have. You had 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
And as a kid, I was like, oh, I want 5 continues.
Yeah, it's going to take me a minute. I'm going to get 5 continues.
I didn't realize I was putting it on hard the whole time.
So you've never played this game on anything besides hard?
On anything but hard.
That you can think of anyway.
And so we played it on hard.
Right, because that's all we knew.
And we completely annihilated this game in less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, we did.
Holy cow. Like, it's weird. It's like, because I was calling out where pizza locations were.
Right. And then we'd like look at it and say, well, I think you need it more than I need it. So we just kind of pass it off here and there.
But it's just, everything just came back. All the movement, all the one thing we did differently is we put the dash on manual.
Right. And I kind of like that because you could kind of tap the direction twice and you'd start running versus just holding it down. You start running. I felt like I had a little bit more control over it. But
yeah, I guess I was just, I'm used to the auto where it just runs for you.
Right.
Like this, I'm still watching Nuggets play. It's doing like a little demo play.
Right.
They're obviously not playing on hard because it took him like one hit to kill those.
Oh yeah,
roadkill Rodney.
Right.
Things.
Which, by the way, was your least favorite of all the.
Yeah, of all the standard villains,
right.
That and the shield foot soldier.
Yeah, the shield foot soldier was a little rough because they have an invisible shield.
Yeah,
so.
We'll get to that. But then, of course, you have you can start with your lives.
Right. You got the number of lives you can start with. I think it goes as little as 3 and as many as 7.
Mm-hmm.
But then with the cheat code, it gives you up to 10. That's really the only cheat code.
And that's
really
it. That's all it does.
And it's classic, but it's just enough. I mean, again, this isn't a super hard game. It's a lot of fun though.
Well, one of the critiques from it I was reading when it first came out was that it was too easy.
Right. And
it's funny because game reviewers back then would complain about a game being too easy. Now it's too hard.
Right. Yes. If somebody from 2019 went back and reviewed, I don't know. I mean, heck, even the first couple Mario Brothers, I mean, they'd be like, this game's too hard. There's no save function, blah, 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 blah. I read somebody was having issues with the original Sonic the Hedgehog. No, there's no way anybody could play this on one playthrough and beat it without save states. I'm like,
that's the only way you did it.
That's the only way you could do it back in the day.
Gosh. Well, that's like these game journalists, man. Did you ever see the video of someone trying to play Cuphead?
No.
And he couldn't beat the tutorial?
Yeah, you told me about it. I didn't see it, but yeah.
This guy is a quote-unquote game journalist,
right.
A reviewer,
right.
Someone who gets paid money to do what we're doing right now.
So if anybody wants to pay us money to do what we're doing right now, send your checks too. But yeah.
And he couldn't beat the tutorial. I've seen videos where a guy's put a side-by-side of that guy's terrible gameplay versus his 5-year-old son. And his 5-year-old son figured it out faster than that guy could.
It's crazy. I mean, if you're a video game journalist, you got to figure out if you're a journalist or a video game player first.
Well, here's the thing. I'm about to offend some people. All right. I see video game journalism the same way as I see like Christian pop music. And that if you can't make it as an actual journalist, you become a video game journalist. If you can't make it as a pop musician, you become a Christian pop musician.
Well, it's like, if you can't make it as a pop musician, you become a country star.
Nowadays.
Yeah.
But no, in a lot of these game journalists, man, they're not gamers. They don't like video games. They just most of their stuff is now their opinion on other things. But
what this right here reminds me of? This talk right here reminds me of. It reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons where Homer becomes a food critic.
Yeah.
And he gives everything like 7 thumbs up. And the guy from John Deere is giving him flack about it. He's like, here's a real journalist. John Deere's got their new balers out or whatever he's talking about. And guess what? Surprise, surprise. They're green.
Yeah. Time to give John Deere a Dear John.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how they are. They nailed it. That's exactly how they are.
Yep.
So if you're listening to this and you want a good actual game review, go to real people. Don't go to like IGN.
Right.
Or what's some of the Kotaku, especially Kotaku. They're people who don't like video games telling you about video games.
Right. Can I tell you, this is my favorite Hammy. Like when Hammy gets on a rage and a rant a little bit, this is my favorite Hammy. So, but yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, if they're going to sit there and talk about how easy it was, I think, there's not a whole lot of critiques in this game. Again, I told you last night, this is absolutely the best ever beat 'em up of all platforms of all time.
I agree.
You couldn't put one out.
I mean, there's some that are up there, but this one just takes the cake.
Yeah. Like everybody's vying for number 2 at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love the Simpsons arcade. I love the original Ninja Turtles arcade, but this one right here on a home platform just takes the bait for me.
I think the 2-player thing really adds to it because, like, Final Fight was a good beat 'em up, but it was 1 player.
Right. Well, Maximum Carnage, a good beat 'em up, only 1 player.
Yeah.
So maybe that there could be the number 2. Again, everybody's fighting for number 2 in my book. But one of the other things that I did want to touch on was
I think Final Fight was 1 player. I may eat my words later, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One of the other things I did want to touch on, and I guess this is more the one critique that you and I kind of had. Now, granted, there's no online because this is not that date and time.
Yeah, 92.
I mean,
Al Gore hadn't invented the internet yet.
I wasn't expecting that. That's great. But I think one of the things, in 2019, going back and playing this, that would have been great for this game would be a 4-player co-op.
Oh, that would have been magical.
Now, they had the adapters for it and everything, but it wasn't compatible with this game for whatever reason. So.
Yeah, it may have been some limitations on the hardware.
Can you imagine me, you, Casey, and Alex sitting and playing this game? You talk about a 30-minute playthrough, it'd be a 20-minute playthrough.
Maybe. We'd probably play through it multiple times.
Oh, absolutely. And then everybody would fight on who's getting which turtle.
Yeah. Well, we kind of have our assigned turtles. You still have those glasses, by the way?
Some of them broke. I used to have some glasses that had the cartoony, 80s cartoon Ninja Turtles faces on it. And just wash them through the dishwasher stuff. They started becoming fading, and I think 1 or 2 of them had cracks in them. So I don't have them anymore.
Years ago, you could get cereal bowls. Remember those?
I remember those.
I've still got all of them.
The plastic ones?
Yes.
Yes, I do remember those. They come in like Cookie Crisp or something, didn't they?
Probably. That was my favorite cereal.
I think they came through Cookie Crisp.
Cookie Crisp and Fruit Loops.
While we're on,
I think we've talked about that.
I think so too,
but I can't remember. My memory's not so good these days.
Well, while we're in nostalgia for Ninja Turtles, you remember Burger King had those little things that would clip on your.
I do.
I had the Michelangelo.
The cowabunga.
The cowabunga. You push a little thumb thing in, and the cowabunga would pop up.
Oh, the proudest day of my life when I finally got the Leonardo one.
Really?
I don't even remember what it did.
But you knew Michelangelo said cowabunga.
Because I had like 7 of those, I think.
Gosh, I might. And guys, we could sit here and talk about this
with
all
the
day
toys. So we need to digress.
Yes,
we need to get.
Yeah, we're on a rabbit trail or a pig trail or what do you want to call it?
Or a turtle trail.
Ooh, it's a long, slow trail.
So the way we want to do this, by the way, we want to go through every level because this is a very cherished game.
Yeah, we don't want to go
beat it in 30 minutes on hard.
Right. Well, we don't want to do a complete playthrough, but we do want to give a good review of every level. So
let you know where they stand, how we feel about each level. So the story before we get into the levels, Shredder has stolen the Statue of Liberty.
Right. Well, Krang actually stole it.
Krang on Shredder's behalf.
Ah, there you go.
has stolen the Statue of Liberty.
You know what's funny? Neither one of those can figure out who the leader is.
They really can't.
They just, I don't know. They compliment each other by not knowing what the crap they're doing. But anyway, go ahead. I digress.
And I think we were talking about how my cousin Jeremy pointed out or posed the question, why is Shredder doing this?
You mean roast beef?
Well, yeah. Roast Beef wanted to know, why is Shredder stealing the Statue of Liberty? It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. I mean, what benefit do you have other than, making the turtles mad coming after you? I mean, maybe that's just it.
That could be it. He's just trying to
antagonize the turtles.
Yeah.
So just get them, hey, come out of your shells, come out of your hiding spots and come get the Statue of Liberty back somehow.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah, the 2019 spin on it. So it's during the newscast, and the turtles are around the news watching April's broadcast, and they're like, "Hey, Shredder, you creep, bring that statue back."
Yeah,
but there's no voice acting at this point.
There was an arcade, which we'll talk about differences as we come to them.
Sure,
the arcade and SNES version, but yeah. So the turtles watch the news and they stay up very late, apparently.
Well, the news is in the daytime or like at dusk. So it's like the 6 o'clock news, maybe the 7 o'clock news kind of thing.
And I thought turtles needed like 23 hours of sleep a day.
Well, not when you have pizza.
That's true.
Their blood sugar is so high, they stay up all the time.
Diabetes is a terrible thing.
So once you get through the intro of why you're playing the game, you jump into the very first level.
Right.
Which is the most iconic level, I think, as far as...
as far as intros.
Yes.
So let's start off with level 1.
Big Apple, 3 a.m.
Big Apple, 3 a.m. Yes. That's still my favorite line of this whole entire game. Like, they could say anything. Like, between the cowabunga and everything, that's my favorite line.
We've probably heard it 1,000 times, too.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've said it 1,000 times in the time that we've played this. Like, it didn't even matter where it was. It was just Big Apple, 3 a.m.
Starting level 7. Big Apple, 3 a.m.
Exactly.
So the turtles are trying to get the Statue of Liberty back, and it takes them to some kind of construction zone.
I like to think that between that time that the newscasts come on and this 3 a.m., which it's kind of weird that they're very specific at what time that this is. But, in that time, maybe they're kind of out searching for the Foot, and all of a sudden the Foot just kind of show up at this construction site. And they're like, okay, here we are, come get us. And that's kind of what lures them into this oncoming trap later.
I think you may have a thing about this whole thing being a trap.
You think so?
Because Crane was waiting for him on this level.
Yeah, he was. Once you get through, what'd you say, about halfway? Maybe a little more than halfway. Crane, who's fresh off stealing the Statue of Liberty, is still in his big form, and he's outside, and he's just kind of taking little side steps. And every time he takes a step, he will shoot lasers from his eyes. Which are apparently electric. Well, as you figured out whenever we, got shot by them, that they were electric. Another kind of neat obstacle in this game was the wrecking balls. Yeah. Like, what construction worker? I guess it's the Foot operating them, but like, they're terrible. They don't know how to do it, because if they did, they would hit you more often than not. But
well, they just pick it up and drop it.
And like, they can kind of see you because they'll move it like wherever you're at, but you have plenty of time to get out of the way. But it's just still
what's cool is it can hit the foot soldiers too.
Oh yeah, I thought we saw that there was a good thing about those background,
those interactable objects.
Sure,
I guess.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Because you start off, you got the cones, you can hit at people.
You got the cones, you've got that exploding barrel.
Yeah.
Which they had that in Ninja Turtles 1. They had like some objects that you could hit, stop signs, fire hydrants, all that kind of stuff. They had that in the original arcade game / Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. So, they brought back some classic stuff. They put some new stuff in it as well. So,
and I was watching a side by side of the arcade versus the SNES version. Mm-hmm. I noticed that the arcade does have smoother animations.
Sure. I mean, it's a more powerful system for the time.
More different sound effects.
Right.
I think you mentioned the voice acting.
Right.
Turtles make remarks every now and then. But overall, the graphics are not that different. They're a little bit better on arcade.
Sure.
But not by a massive margin. I think one thing's the pizza boxes, which is how you get your health back. They're actually animated in the arcade, and when you pick it up, the turtle holds up a slice of pizza.
Okay, so
and
a little
looks
extra
at the screen.
animation.
Yeah. When you stand still, I think you just have the ready arrow on SNES.
I think April comes up and says ready or something, or ready and kind of pointing maybe.
Yeah, and on the arcade, it's Splinter.
Yeah, and then the longer you sit, because this is coin op.
Yeah.
So the longer you sit there, Splinter will run across the screen, kind of almost in the background, like he's very small, and he says "hurry," like he goes from left to right, says "hurry," and then after a little bit longer, a bigger Splinter, like he's getting closer to the screen, goes by, and he goes "hurry," and then it gets more and more. He'll get closer to the screen, and eventually you'll die. Like you'll lose your quarter, lose your life at that point.
I wonder if that's why a lot of these older games have timers, because a lot of them come from arcades.
That's an interesting thing.
Because if you didn't have that, some kid, and that some kid would have done this, would just put a coin in and just wait,
just stay there,
stay there all day. Little punks.
I don't know. It's a very good point. But back to the level.
Yeah, the enemies you run into, you just have foot soldiers on this one.
Yeah, because they had it in the second one as well, and the third one for that matter, where you had enemies that did a couple of different things. In this particular level, you had your standard purple foot soldier.
Yeah.
You had your white foot soldier with the nunchucks.
That's right.
You had red
one with throwing star.
Okay.
And you had the blue one with the tuning fork.
I'm going to go ahead and address this one now. Why? Why do you have a tuning fork?
That might be an actual ninja weapon. I don't know. I'm not a ninja.
Like, all I want to do is like go up and hit it against the side of the building and just say, and see if I'm like in a perfect tune with a C.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I've done all I can do and just walk away.
But they have those giant tuning forks.
Right.
And that's your 4 standard enemies in this level,
right?
Which they branch out later on with different weapons, different colors. And which, by the way, foot soldiers, robot ninjas.
Yeah, I made that comment when we were playing how much I like that better than I like the live action movies where they had humans.
Yeah,
because at least in this, they'd kind of you destroy them. You could actually use your weapons, like
you could use your katanas without fearing murdering someone.
Right, like in the movies, if you're a turtle and you're trying to go against somebody, you're going to stab them. You're going to cut, dismember them some way or another.
Yeah.
In the movies, that crap never happened. They just hit them like with the blunt end. It's like I'm watching Triple H with a sledgehammer. He never uses a sledgehammer like it's intended to be used. He hits them with the brunt of it.
No, he would kill someone.
Exactly. So, that's why I always like this version better, is because there's actual destruction of the enemy.
By the way, everything explodes.
Yeah, it does. Which, hey, that was a '90s thing apparently, because
it was.
This is not the first time we've seen that.
So this is where Michael Bay got his inspiration from.
I like to think that we're going to put that on his Wikipedia page now.
But this is a good little intro level. Kind of gets you introduced to the mechanics.
Right.
The turtles actually have a lot of moves.
Right. So this is the first game where they introduced the slide.
Yeah, where you dash.
Right, you dash and you hit B and you would slide into them.
Well, you do the flip when you hit B, and then you hit Y early, and he does a slide. If you do it late, he does a shoulder charge.
Right. I didn't use the slide very much. That's why there was a pause, because I couldn't remember. Like, there's a slide, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a slide. The power moves are back, but the power moves will take away from your life bar in this one. And
I've got more to say on the power moves, but I'll save it.
Okay.
For the end.
Of course, you've got your attack, you got your jump, you got your power move, you got your jump attack, which
there's 3 different kinds of that.
But there's 3 different kinds of that in this one too. The first one is just your standard jump and drop kick. The second one is if you push the attack button at the top of your kick, they kind of start doing a flip, and the more you press attack, they'll keep attacking while they're flipping. So you could
it's not flip. Well, I don't know if they're flipping. I know Leonardo is just swinging his swords.
Raphael would flip, and I think Donatello would have his bow staff, and he would flip like while he was swinging his bow staff around.
Okay.
So
If you did it at when you're a lot lower on the jump, that's when you do that like straightforward.
Yeah.
Big boot,
Right.
which you completely change direction and momentum in midair. Just not happening.
Well, we've already established this isn't that kind of game. But yeah, the move sets, they added some stuff. It's not too far out there. It works, and it helps, especially if you get into a bind with multiple enemies around you. Which this first level, there's not a lot there, but eventually you get to the end and you get to the boss. The first boss is
Baxter Stockman.
Probably one of the most underrated bosses, I kind of think.
This is his fly form too.
Yeah, it's not that stupid humanoid Mauser form. This is the man, the fly man, fly guy.
Jeff Goldblum.
So you've got Baxter Stockman. He's flying around. He comes out.
He has a machine gun.
And he has a machine gun.
And he has a silly putty hand.
And is that what that is? I don't know what that is.
I don't know, but I know it's a lot more animated. It looks a lot cooler on the arcade version.
I want to say
I will say that.
Is it the hand still? The little
Yeah.
hand? Okay, because it seems like there was one he had a fly swatter.
No, it's the fight's identical to the
Okay.
SNES version.
One of the differences is they show a life bar, where in the arcade version they did not.
Yeah.
And in true Konami fashion, the more damage that the enemy takes, the more he starts flashing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also a visual representation of how much damage he's kind of taken.
Also, when you defeat him on the SNES version, he just walks over to the railing, falls over the edge, and explodes.
Right.
He's made up of organic material. He's not combustible. Whatever. In the arcade version, he just kind of falls over.
Yeah, it's just bleh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is my thing with Baxter Stockman. If I was the Ninja Turtles, I would just take like a can of Raid or something and just see if that did anything. I mean, it's got to, right?
Set up a giant like kiddie pool of dishwashing liquid and honey.
Or like you get a gigantic bug zapper.
Yeah.
That would be funny. Oh gosh, Baxter Stockman. I like that boss. I've always liked that boss.
I did, and I like this level. I really do. I mean,
it's a great intro level.
It's kind of bare bones compared to the other ones,
Sure,
but it like I said, it's a great intro level.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, what makes a good intro level? You're able to do everything you need to.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to learn the controls without being just totally overwhelmed. It's not super hard. We've reviewed games in the past where they make the first couple of levels super hard for the replayability and the renting. Well, this is the exact opposite.
It really is.
It goes from really easy and it just ramps up throughout the game.
I think that's why it's a more beloved game than
It probably
most
is.
of those other ones.
It probably is.
Speaking of which, we talked about moves. We also need to mention the throws before we move on.
Oh yeah.
There's the Jack's throw.
Yeah, the gotcha. We kept calling it gotcha, where you would kind of grab their arm and sling them back and forth,
which can hit other enemies.
Right, and if it hit another enemy, it's an instant death.
It is.
So that was always a neat thing to do if you could get it done. But the other one, which was not in the arcade, from my understanding,
no, it was in the arcade.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It was.
All right. Well, they incorporated it later.
It wasn't in Hyperstone Heist.
Okay.
But
that game was so inferior to this one.
I still haven't played it, but from
probably
everything I've heard, we may review it down the road.
Well, we may, but you know what? I'm not going to review a McRib either, so I've never had one of those.
You don't know what you're missing. I've never had one either. But the other one is you just take them and you fling them into the foreground.
No, there's no real way of doing it. It's kind of random. Like maybe there's a little bit of a technique to it, but I think it's more of placement with your character.
Yeah, I can do it pretty consistently, but I don't know how. It's either going to be a throw or it's going to be the slam move.
Right. But that particular move is used later in the game.
Oh yeah.
So you almost have to kind of start learning, how to do it, the placement, how to do it, and all that kind of stuff.
And you'll get used to it.
But they'll throw them two different ways. They will kind of grab them by the shoulder and roll backwards toward the screen and kick them like where the back kind of hits the screen.
Yeah.
And they got the other one where they take them by the arm and sling them around toward the screen. So both of those animations are pretty cool, especially for something like this.
Yeah, for Super Nintendo.
For real.
So that gets us through level 1. What, you said you liked it too.
Oh yeah. Again, iconic, great start off level. This right here's what really gets the ball going, makes you want to keep playing it for sure.
Right. So moving on to level 2.
Alley Cat Blues.
Alley Cat Blues.
Thank you for saying that, because I almost said it in the 16-bit voice. I really did.
This takes place a little while later, apparently. Now, I wonder if this whole game is supposed to take place like linear.
I would assume so.
Yeah. I guess they go from downtown to
the street level.
Yeah, to the street level, and it's daytime now, so.
Right, so it's at least, I don't know, 8 in the morning maybe.
Yeah.
But this right here, is kind of like all the other all the other Turtle games have been. There's always that, Manhattan, well, not Manhattan, that New York street level.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things you come into is the fire hydrant, which, again, iconic with Ninja Turtles. I remember playing this game years ago with you, and you would always holler at me and say, "The fire hydrant's mine. Don't you hit the fire hydrant."
I love it.
Because you were always going to take the sword or the katana and hit it and use it to hit an enemy. So yeah. I do remember you getting verbally abusive with me one time because I hit it, and you're like, "You stupid idiot! You didn't even hit anybody with it." That's why I always hit it.
Oh, it's like playing with my nephews.
Yeah. The manholes are introduced again, which again is something that was in the original arcade game.
It's weird. He said that they go, "This cave is creepy." It's a sewer. You live in that.
Yeah.
It's not a cave.
Yeah, there's some loopholes in what was going on. They say this cave is keepy.
This cave is keepy.
This cave is creepy. In the original one, I think they say it's dark. Who turned out the lights? That's what it is. Who turned the lights out?
It makes a lot more sense.
So,
but the foot soldier jumps up and flings the manhole lid. Now, in my line of work, I have to deal with manhole lids. They're not. No one's flinging those.
No.
Okay.
Well, superhuman robots are.
Well, here's the thing: they throw it at you, and you can hit it right back at them. You're telling me nunchuck? No, you know what? I'm not even getting to that. Suspension of disbelief.
Who cares? You can do it.
Just if you're ever in a position in life and someone throws a manhole cover at you, don't try to hit it back. You're not going to. If you're not a Ninja Turtle.
There you go. We were watching Spider-Man Far From Home the other day, and there's a scene where somebody takes a shield and tries to throw it at an enemy. Oh, it's Happy. Happy takes a shield and tries to throw it at an enemy, and it just goes 2 feet and falls, and he's closing the door trying to run away. He says, "How does Cap do that?"
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, because like you said, there's no way you're slinging a manhole like that or manhole cover like that.
But this game, oh, by the way, I got my list here of new enemies.
Yeah, Hammy was very, very thorough in this one. He wanted to make sure he did this one justice for sure.
This one introduces the blue foot soldier with the sword. So he's figured out, guys, this tuning fork's not working. Let's try an actual weapon.
Well, he's a little different shade, right? I mean, it's not the same.
No, it's
blue.
the same blue.
Okay.
I mean, this is 16-bit. You can't have 7 different shades of blue.
Well, but you can have 3 maybe.
I think you can have 1
and still call it blue.
Right.
Anything else that was new?
Yes, the worst enemy in the game. Roadkill Rodney.
So if you don't know who Roadkill Rodney is, Roadkill Rodney looks like I don't know, what was the duck from DuckTales?
Gizmo Duck.
Gizmo Duck. That's who he looks like.
That's what I was thinking yesterday. Yeah.
He looks like Gizmo Duck. So he's got a little tire.
He drills up from the ground.
Right. And then he's got this electronic whip and these lasers. So he'll go back and forth.
Well, the demo's almost to it.
No, we won't get there.
And I didn't know they were called Roadkill Rodney until I dug out my old instruction booklet.
And you can go on Instagram and find them.
Here they are.
Yep. There you go. They just kind of go back and forth, and which he killed them all with one hit.
Yeah, that's not on hard.
Yeah, that's on easy.
Because it's 3 or 4 hits on hard.
This was a mini boss in the original Ninja Turtles arcade. Before you went into the burning room with April, he would come up and you had to fight him before you fought Rocksteady. And it was just one, but he was a lot bigger. He wasn't this small. But when they ported it over to the home systems, they made them multiple, kind of like they did here. So
Another difference on this level on arcade, there are some other little barriers that you can hit towards people, kind of like the cones.
Sure. Okay. Probably like a mile per hour sign or something like that.
Just like a little safety barrier, like you'd put around an open manhole.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of neat.
So,
did I really just say mile per hour sign instead of a speed limit sign?
You did.
Okay.
As I said, this cave is keepy.
Yeah, shut up. I had a stroke. Leave me alone. So you progress through. There's some pretty, it's a pretty easy level. Again, it just kind of ramps it up. The number of enemies has increased.
It is, and it does show off some cool stuff, like when the foot soldiers jump the chain link fence from the background to to you.
Right. And it does introduce the power up.
Yeah.
Was it a shape of a bomb on a pizza box, basically?
I think so. I think it was the same in the arcade.
Okay.
So,
well, anyway, you pick up this pizza box and you just start spinning around, and it's an instant kill, but it's only good for 5 seconds, maybe.
Yeah. See, that's what I think the special should have been, rather than what they are.
Okay.
But again, I'll save that for.
Well, that's like a star in Mario. Whereas the special that we're using is like the firepower.
No, the special we're using is worthless, but I'll get to that. I'll get to that later.
Okay.
I digress.
So towards the end of the level, you come to the end of the alleyway, and you fight
Mecha Turtle.
No.
Metalhead.
Metalhead. You got, of all people here, is going to get something halfway synonymous with Sonic the Hedgehog confused. It's going to be you.
Well, there's flashing lights on the screen.
Well,
okay.
I'm
about to pass out. No, I'll leave it on.
Okay.
I've gotten accustomed to them. But yeah, Metalhead. Here's another difference. The manhole that's present in the Metalhead fight was not there in the arcade.
Okay. Man, that thing's kind of in a bad place sometimes too. Like you don't have you have just enough room to.
You ever use it to dodge his bullets?
No, I don't think, because doesn't that take away from health when you fall in a manhole?
I don't know.
In Turtles 2, it did.
I don't think it does in this one.
Well, by gosh, I should have done that the entire time then. I always thought that it took away power, so I tried to stay away from them.
Hold on, look at the screen real quick. See the points at the top?
Yeah.
Why is Leonardo getting points when he's playing Michelangelo?
Well, I don't know, because Michelangelo said press start, didn't it?
They both did. It's like no one was there, but Michelangelo, yet Leonardo was getting points. But anyway, y'all can't say that. I'm sorry.
Little things Hammy points out in the middle of a podcast.
So Metalhead's the robot turtle with a machine gun built into him.
Into his chest, it's kind of weird. Like this cavity opens up, and a machine gun pops out. And then he'll go from the top of the screen down and just shoot one bullet at a time as he kind of. So it's easy to jump around. It's not like a continuous stream of bullets that you're trying to get around.
This game was easy.
Well, the other thing that he did, he kind of jumped around a little bit. So if he hit
had
you,
extendo arms,
and then he had the
legs.
extendo arms, extendo legs. So go gadget foot.
Yeah. He was a pretty fun boss.
He was a fun boss. He's probably the most fun boss. Like I love Baxter Stockman, but he's kind of annoying because he hovers, so you have to do a lot of jump attacks. This right here, it's once you get that first initial hit on him, you just slash him, and then bounce out, and then he'll start at the top shooting his gun. And if you can get a hit on him right before he starts jumping, he's out for a minute. You just start hitting him again. So
he gets stunned. You can lay into him. So
you can get in a really good rhythm on some of these bosses. But that's coming up though.
But yeah, Alley Cat Blues, I like it. It's not my favorite level, but it's still pretty solid. I think.
It's solid because it is an early favorite level.
Yeah, it's a good hook for the game.
Sure. The next level though,
level 3,
Sewer
surfing.
So now we found our way into the sewers somehow.
So for me, this one is kind of hit or miss, personally, because you're on that surfboard, you're going in a sewer, like
that hoverboard.
Well, yeah, hoverboard, I guess, but like you're going through. There's traps in the sewer. There's mines in the sewer.
It's cool because it swaps things up. You're no longer walking around your classic beat 'em up. You're traveling at a high rate of speed through the sewers on a hoverboard.
Of New York City.
Yeah, you can move up and you can still move around.
Right.
It's just you're continuously going. You run into your foot soldiers and they're all one-hit kills.
Right. You hit them, they fall off the board, they die. You do have some booby traps with the little gate that falls down.
Which I do not know how to dodge that consistently to this day.
I always heard it's like stay in the bottom left-hand corner. Like, as it comes down, like, it can't get you if you're in the bottom left-hand corner.
Maybe.
I don't know. But they also have the mines.
Yeah.
Which brings in another classic 16-bit sound there when they start jumping around.
Thankfully, they left it in.
Yes, thankfully.
My toe.
Because it happens a lot. So you progress through, you get through all the foot soldiers, and then that part is that the bonus or is that the level? I forget.
It's the bonus.
The foot soldier part is the bonus?
No.
The whole thing is the bonus.
Yeah, the whole thing is like a bonus level.
So you get through about the halfway point. I'm gonna call it the halfway point, and then all of a sudden the foot soldiers become.
Oh no, it's about right at the end when this happens.
Okay. Well, they don't become the pizza monsters. The foot soldiers are gone, and now the pizza monsters are swimming up underneath you.
Yes, the chunky cheese pizza monsters.
This is just a chunky cheese. This is just a bad ripoff of Predator.
Well, it looks like the aliens,
right?
From the Alien movies.
Gosh, I had a great line and I screwed it up by saying quoting the wrong movie.
They've done it 3 or 4 times now.
Throughout 30-something episodes.
Maybe you need to go to the doctor after that. But they pop up, and those things are kind of hard to hit.
They are. You can time it just right because they'll pop out behind you and jump toward the right of the screen, or they'll pop out in front of you and jump back to the left of the screen. So if you can kind of time it, especially on the ones that are jumping to the left of the screen.
What if you're facing left?
Why would you be facing left? You're always.
So the ones jumping up on the left won't be behind you.
Whatever. Anyway, in true Michael Bay fashion, they will blow up as well.
Yeah, they explode.
But those are actually like organic, are they not? Kinda. I mean, they're not robots.
Wasn't that one episode of the cartoon?
One or two. I know the new cartoon kind of revamped it up a little bit too.
Oh, well, you know what? After that first 80s/early 90s cartoon,
there's no other Ninja Turtles. Yeah. I agree. But I just know it from Maze. Maze loved the new cartoon before they redid it.
Yeah, there's been like several iterations since.
Yeah. But yeah, it was one episode I remember fondly, but I don't know about the others. I don't know if it's in any others. And basically, it's just like mutagen and pizza, right?
Maybe.
I think that's all it was just
apparently everything that comes in contact with mutagen turns evil, except for turtles. And rats.
There's a couple more. None come to mind right now, but there were a couple more.
But in the arcade, that's the end of the level.
Right. You get through that. Shredder shows up, and all of a sudden he's going to banish you to a time where you can't come back. Basically.
But that's the arcade.
But that's the arcade version. This right here is the biggest difference between these two games. The first biggest difference. Yeah,
this is where it really starts to change things up
and separate itself.
Because this level has a boss.
And we actually talked about this when we were playing through it right before we started playing, or before we were recording. And it's the Rat King. And the Rat King kind of has this sewer mobile thing.
This awesome jet ski.
That goes in reverse.
Yeah. Fires missiles and mines. And
missiles and mines. And
lasers.
And lasers, yeah.
It's the most bougie jet ski there's ever been.
But it actually tells you there's a hit point, which is neat too. It tells you, it says hit here. Like,
I wonder if that's part of it. Like, he put it on there.
I don't know, but it's like, guys, people may not be able to beat this guy. Let's give them an obvious hit location where they need to hit and beat this.
All right, again, this game may be too easy.
Oh goodness! But
it's a hit here.
Several, you have to kind of obviously dodge the obstacles and whatnot. But a couple of hits, Rat King gone. Which
he starts exploding and falling off screen.
Yeah, which is kind of what happens to everybody in a sense. But
yeah.
So that was the end of the level. So
that guy was not on the arcade version.
That's crazy.
I like the level, but it's not a favorite.
No.
It's okay. The gates, I've never liked the gates.
Well, they were in 2, I believe, in one stage where you could kind of walk through the sewers. Why are there spiky gates and sewers in New York City?
Sewers are dangerous there, man.
But that takes us to another level, which was one that was completely not in the arcade game.
Technodrome. Let's kick shout.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that this was not an arcade.
This right here really binds all of that together. The whole entire story of what's coming up, where Shredder banishes you to the time.
Yeah, which this is
because he just shows up in a sewer and says, "Oh, hey, here's a portal. You're going through the portal, and it's done." And you know.
It's like rays shoot out of his head.
Yeah,
in the arcade, it's weird, but it's cool because you start out in a high rise, then street level, then sewers, and you move down to the massive caverns beneath New York.
I didn't think of it like that, the way that it's, progressing downward, like you just said. Mm-hmm. I never thought of it that way. That does make a lot of sense now, though, because,
they're working their way towards the Technodrome.
Right.
Which was just an awesome thing.
That big eye. I still don't understand what it's for. Does it ever blink? I don't know.
I don't know. It's just a giant ball and tracks.
Yeah, it's got the ball and the tracks, and it's got these like weird little I don't know, satellite ray things out of its side, and I don't know. It's just awesome.
Was there a Technodrome toy?
I don't know if there's a full size. I had a mini Technodrome toy that would open up, like you could sit in it, like put one of your little characters in it.
Yeah, the little minis.
And it would open up on each side. So I had that, and then of course I had the turtle, the little mini turtle that was a Technodrome on the inside of it too.
Yeah, I had that.
Man, I love my childhood. I wish I could go back.
The 90s
sometimes.
were the best.
They were. So anyway, you come to this particular level, which is called.
They've already heard it.
What is it called?
Technodrome. Let's kick shell.
Oh, I didn't know you said let's kick shell.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought we just said Technodrome. Okay, Technodrome. Let's kick shell.
We have the intros.
I know. I didn't know you said it though. I didn't hear you say it just now.
I don't have to say it.
They've already heard it.
That 16-bit voice says it.
You've made a valid point.
So redundant. I don't repeat other people like you do.
Or myself. Over and over and over.
Oh, I'm sorry I had to take that. But anyway, the new enemies in this are the Mousers.
Yeah, Mauser's another one that was in the past games. I don't get those. Those were invented just to find Master Splinter, pretty much. Were they not?
I think so. I wonder how the Rat King feels working with Baxter Stockman, who invented the Mousers.
You know what? That's a very good point as well.
I mean, that's like Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns be on the same team. Survivor Series.
I'm kind of pumped for that.
Going to be on the WWE Network. We watching it?
Tomorrow, sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, Takeover. Now we got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Also introduces the Shield Foot Soldiers.
Yeah, is this the first time the Shield Foot Soldiers are there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was thinking they were in another level, but anyway.
They're the reason the boss fight in this takes longer than 10 seconds.
True. So earlier we kind of preluded that we would use the throw later, even though we don't know how to do the throw. We would do the throw later. Well, this is it.
It'll come into the boss fight, but there is a mini boss in this.
Yeah, there is. I'm completely forgetting about the level. I'm just jumping straight into Shredder.
Mm-hmm. You got to work your way towards him.
I love the hand motion.
You come across Toka and Razar from Turtles 2.
Yeah, and this was a cool intro because in 92, I believe the Ninja Turtles 3 the Turtles in Time movie, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Was in 93, I believe. So this game kind of was in between, but maybe the studio had some insight of where they were going with it. But anyway, they included Toka and Razar from Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
Which was the best Turtles movie.
Absolutely. The first one's good. The second one's better. The third one was...
I like the third one.
I liked it.
Yourself.
I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite.
I liked it a lot. But Toka and Razar.
So you got two bosses. You got two bosses at the same time.
Yeah, and they were in the arcade version, but just in a later level.
Right.
Because this level did not exist. So the Super Nintendo port moves them from that later level we'll get to this one.
Right. So, real quick, they were also in Turtles 3. They were a boss in
Manhattan Project?
Manhattan Project for regular Nintendo.
Featured Triceratron on the front.
And he was nowhere to be found.
What a false advertising.
Very much so. So, Toka is the turtle. Toka would shoot out ice from his... He would breathe out ice, which...
Yeah.
Okay, I got you, whatever. And then Razar would be the fire. So, you kind of... That's how they would... Obviously, they could hit you, and... That was kind of their power up was the fire and the ice.
Well, when you beat them, they demutated back to their original forms.
Right.
And you could still wail on them. and let me tell you, it's I don't know if you say it's too brutal or a little brutal for the game, but the fact that you can sit there and wail on a puppy as it whines and you hear the hits landing.
Yep.
And it's like crying and you're just beating a puppy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's worse or the fact that I do it every time.
Well, they were bad guys.
Well, it's like you beat them, they demutate, and you've got to finish them off.
Exactly.
So
they can never come back again.
You have to kill this helpless turtle and puppy.
Well, it happens.
Then you get past that.
And you go into this elevator shaft.
Yeah.
Which again, we were playing in 2-player, so you're in this elevator shaft and you walk in and then all of a sudden the elevator takes you to the next floor, and every floor that progresses you have a new enemy.
Yeah.
So
and a door opens up on each side.
Yep, a door opens up on each side, and usually it's like 2-foot soldiers on each door, and then when it gets up to the top, I think it's 4 per door.
Yeah.
But there's one point where a bunch of Mousers come out.
The door's open.
The door's open. We hit Mousers one time. Mousers explode. We go to the next level.
Yeah.
It's like literally we stopped there for 2 seconds, it seemed like. And that's what we kept laughing about because it was just like, boom, done, next level. Yeah. So eventually you make it to, I guess, the top of the elevator shaft and into Shredder's lair or office. I like to think of it as his office space.
Yeah. Like his desk is that big like robot he's in.
Right. So he's in this big robot, and you're looking at it from
behind him.
Well, you're looking at it from the portal to the turtles to the Shredder, and you can kind of see him sitting there. He's behind this glass and everything, and he's got these 2 claws. It kind of looks like scorpion claws.
And that's another cool thing about this game is people talk about how it's repetitive. Sure, I mean it's beat 'em up. All beat 'em ups are repetitive.
Sure,
but this game had so many different elements like that. Like I had the sewer surfing level.
Mm-hmm.
It has the Neon Knight Riders level later. This part where it shows this cool view behind Shredder and you're seeing as he's aiming at you and stuff.
Right. The perspective of it is completely different.
And to have not been in the arcade, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. Well, it's what made it different and therefore made it better.
And each level, sure, it's you're hitting Y and B 100% of the time. Really.
You're not hitting anything else.
But every level feels fresh.
Yeah. And it's because of the settings, it's because of the enemies, and it's because of these boss fights like this.
And the levels never linger too long.
No, because you're in and out. Again, maybe that's why this game was too easy.
Which, I mean, and there are some levels that are better than others. There's some I'm not crazy about. There's some bosses that I really can't stand. we'll get to. But this boss fight, you had to fling the enemy into the foreground.
Right.
And 9 times we found out.
Yeah.
At least on hard.
Well, and here's the thing, like you see it from kind of a third person from Shredder. So you see Shredder, he's kind of in the middle of the screen. If you move your turtle too far down on the screen, you can actually get behind him and not see yourself.
Yeah. Well, he's got those pincers to keep you from doing that.
Well, he's got the pincers to keep you from doing that, but then he's also shooting those little, I guess, lasers, bullets, or whatever it is to you too. So that
he'll try to lock on to you.
Right. And again, I don't think there's a real way to throw them. I was doing pretty good there for a minute because I threw the first 2 and then I couldn't throw anymore. And of course, these are the shield ones. Yeah. So you have to almost kind of get their shield down in a way or get behind them.
This is where I struggled a little with the dash because the best way to do it is to dash, shoulder block them, and then throw them.
Right. Let's see. I got 2, then you got 3, then I got 1. So that was 6 apiece, right?
I ended up with 5. You ended up with 4.
Right. And I think we went 1 and 1, and you got the last one right there at the end. So, because this is my new favorite saying, hashtag full disclosure. Whenever I would borrow your Super Nintendo and I played this game solo, I don't think I've ever made it past this level by myself. I couldn't throw them, man. I knew I had to throw them because we've played this game so much as kids, but every time I ever got to this point,
Well, let me tell
couldn't
you.
get past it.
Let me tell you, it's a good spot to kind of take a little break and talk about something else. When I was little and I had this game, now I got this game on my birthday in 1992, like 2 months after it came out, from my sister. I was at church, in the choir, and she came in a little late, sit on the back row. I'm up there lip syncing to "I'll Fly Away" because I didn't actually ever sing. And she's sitting there and she just slowly holds up the box to show me that she got it for me. And I was like, you know what? I need to leave and go home right now.
So you faked a leg injury and walked out.
I waited, but I'm sure everyone else in the choir was like, what's going on? But this game,
why is that boy smiling like that?
well, no, more like why's Debbie back there on the back row holding up a Super Nintendo box? But back then, I would wake up real early before school.
Oh yeah,
or before church.
Yep.
And I would play through this game.
Yep.
I would play start to finish on hard, apparently, by myself. Unknowingly, and beat the game.
Right.
And I guess I did it fast then. This or Mario Kart. I played those two probably the most out of all my Super Nintendo games.
So, real quick, unscripted question. In the order of games that were purchased for your Super Nintendo, what number is this? Was this like
one of Super Nintendo?
Yeah. So like Super Mario World came with it, correct?
It did.
Yours. And then you got,
I don't remember what order I got my games, but this actually this Mario Kart and Donkey Kong Country I would play through constantly. Those are my top 3 for my Super Nintendo.
Right.
I mean, a lot of games that I like a lot for it, I would play later, but then that was the trifecta for those 3.
More so than Super Mario World.
I like Super Mario World, but I like these better.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta understand. That's fair.
That's fair.
It's like saying, sirloin steak versus filet, or porterhouse.
There you go.
I like them all.
Well, I would think I would replace Super Mario Kart with Super Mario World. That's just me personally. Not that it's a bad game. That's just I didn't play a whole lot of Super Mario Kart.
See, I did. I would. It's a little weird, but I would have 2 controllers and I would do battle mode.
Right.
And I would practice different techniques in battle mode.
You are a nerd.
But by God, I was amazing.
You
in
were
battle
good.
mode.
You were very good. You're still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would do that.
So yeah, I played through. I don't know how many times I've beaten this game, but I would real early in the morning wake up and just play through it.
Yeah.
That I guess that's why. What is it? 20 something years later.
Yeah.
Over 25 years later.
Right.
I still remember about everything about it.
We're getting to the point. Well, granted, it helps too that we played through it just recently. But like you said, you're pointing out where pizza boxes were, and hey, watch out for this coming up, and all that kind of stuff. So, we're getting to the point where it's no longer. Oh yeah, 20 years ago, I remember this. It's 25 now, buddy. It's 25.
Gonna be 30 here soon.
I know it sucks. It sucks. So back on topic.
It's better than saying, remember 25 years ago we had that World War?
You got a point. You got a way good point. So once you defeat the Shredder, he jumps into this portal, which is kind of behind you when you're battling him.
Thought it was a big TV screen, but
yeah,
turns out it was a portal.
So he jumps through, and then hold on. He jumps through because the big head comes up on it after that, right?
So it's a TV screen and a portal.
I guess so.
That is beyond a smart TV.
Oh, we're going to get to another part on that. But anyway, he says he's going to banish you to a time, which is the exact same phrase that he says. He doesn't say it. The text comes up.
Yeah.
But that's the exact same phrase that he says in the arcade. And then he puts you into the portal. And you start time traveling.
You do that awesome little spinny.
Yeah, because you spin away from where you went, and then all of a sudden the perspective changes, and you're spinning toward whatever you're going to.
You know,
next.
you were talking about those Burger King pins earlier. Have you seen the ones they've made recently? Some company did of that, where you can have the pin, it's the turtle, and you can spin it.
I have not, and now I want one.
Yeah, they were expensive though.
I don't care. I want one now. Anybody that loves us enough, just send it to us. I'll give you my address.
Make sure it's yours.
Yeah, for real. I'll get a P.O. box. How about that?
There you go.
So send you spinning in time.
And finds you in the first place is
Prehistoric Turtlesaurus.
how many zeros is that?
You know, I want to say that it was like 9 zeros. It was like 25 and then 9 zeros. That's like 25 billion BC.
Okay.
I think.
Back in the time when there were dinosaurs and robot ninjas.
So, and how about the way they kind of put the names together? You know, it's obviously a turtle game, but Turtlesaurus. What is that? I mean, gosh almighty.
It's pun. There's malapropism? What's it called? I don't know.
That sounds like something I should Google. But so you start out and you are in the Jurassic Age, I guess.
Apparently Shredder's convinced dinosaurs to attack you too.
Yeah, because when you first start out, you've got dinosaurs running right at you.
Yeah, and you got the pterodactyls that are flying, dropping rocks at you.
Exploding rocks.
Everything explodes. Here's another difference between the arcade. The arcade version, those raptors that run by, I assume they're raptors. It's Jurassic Park knowledge.
Everything is raptors in my book.
That run by and can bulldoze you.
Mm-hmm.
On the arcade, some of the foot soldiers ride them sometimes, like a horse, and they'll come up, and you got to knock the foot soldier off, but they breathe fire.
Oh, okay. What?
So everything in this game breathes fire and or explodes.
Well, or ice. They'll breathe ice too.
Also, this is a pretty good looking level.
Yeah, visually, I mean, and not just to pick one or two out, but I mean, this one right here it had a lot of foreground, a lot of background.
Yeah.
Eventually, you get to the caves where it had the stalactites that would fall down, which that was always funny too, because when you got close to them, there's no shadow, and then all of a sudden there's a shadow, and it like kind of lets you know, hey, something's about to happen. You just back away, and the stalactite would fall.
But I know in there's one part of this level where there's a lake in the background.
Yes, that's kind of the front part.
And that's another cool thing is the background's not always the same. It's like you're actually moving through the land, but the lake is in the background. I did notice the arcade does look better, but not by a whole lot.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. We don't really do a whole lot of visual comparisons, but for a 16-bit system, this absolutely did still look very good.
I mean, and they were more, the colors are more vibrant on the arcade, but this
it's
really
16-bit.
did a great job, because you look at the arcade version of Turtles 2 or Turtles arcade game versus the NES board. It's night and day.
It's very night and day.
Whereas this was amazing, but this is a good looking level, and I like this level. You run into the blue foot soldier with the big axe.
Yeah.
You run into the yellow foot soldier that throws a bomb and then calmly walks away. The bomb, which can take out other foot soldiers. Yes. I love that about this game, is the enemies can hurt each other.
Yeah, so if you can somehow or another maneuver around to where all the foot soldiers are around you as he throws the bomb, problem solved.
Yep.
Now, I don't know who gets credit for those kills, but because that's one of the things that you know, you got a hit counter for every enemy that you hit.
And every 200 you get an extra life.
Right, and every 200 you get an extra life.
So if you have to continue, it starts that counter over.
Yes. Yes, as long as if you lose a life, and how many ever you have, you know, that you set up in the beginning of the game, after all of those run out, you'll hit a continue, and then that counter will reset.
And something else, during that continue, you have a chance to pick a different turtle if you want to.
You do. I think you have to.
But we stuck with Leonardo and Donatello.
We did.
For this whole thing.
We did.
Again,
we were playing on hard, so sorry if we gave it away that we kind of sucked and did have to use a continue. I did. I don't think you did.
I had one. I'd do one.
Okay.
You did what, two? Because you did your second one at this the final boss.
Yeah, it's the final boss.
But yeah, good looking game. Another new enemy that's going to be recurring is the Stone Warrior.
Right.
I call him Rock Man.
Rock Soldiers.
Rock
Dimension
Soldiers.
X.
Rock Soldiers from Rock City, Tennessee.
And they would have different weapons as well. So you had different Rock Soldiers.
And you had a different throw for them.
Yeah, you did, because they're so heavy. Like
Yeah.
you barely you would throw them, but you'd kind of barely throw them.
But you get through this level fighting off your dinosaurs, your foot soldiers, your rock men, and you get to the boss.
Well, and one of the things before you get to the boss is you have this big mountain in the background, and it's cut out like Shredder. So they've already altered time, and every time travel movie I've ever seen has told.
I've never noticed that.
What? Yeah, it's like this big mountain. It's kind of cut out. Like it's not like Rushmore. It's like even bigger than Rushmore. Like the head is, but it's kind of at the base. But it's like cut out in the figure of a Shredder.
And I'm usually the one that notices those things.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. How about that?
I have to go back through and check it out.
Well, we can get there in 15 minutes.
Yeah, you got like half an hour. But you get to the boss, and on arcade, the boss is Cement Man.
Which sounds like a bad Batman villain.
No,
I'm
it
not
sounds
gonna
like a
lie.
Mega Man villain.
You know what? That's even better.
It's
I like it.
you got to fight Cement Man. You have an easier time with Wood Man, and then you got to take on Drywall Man, and then Plumbing Man, Electric Man. You got a house.
There you go. Oh, Dr. Wiley.
But
So and that was the arcade version.
yeah,
And that enemy was he's okay.
it's like Clayface from Batman.
He kind of reminds me a little bit of Glacius from.
Yeah, he does.
That's who he reminds me of. I hit the microphone.
Oh, you're tuning fork. So,
He reminds me of Glacius, the way he would kind of morph into the ground and come back up and whatever. So,
but if you've never played the arcade version, you will know that the enemy here or the boss here, Slash.
Oh my!
I hate this boss.
Gosh, I hated this boss.
We both went down probably 8 times.
Oh yeah, it was
Peace.
terrible. Like we went through some lives with this one.
I would never have used a continue if it wasn't for this boss.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what was so hard? Because he could hit no matter what. Like if you're in the middle hitting him, he would hit you. He would jump.
Yeah, he could interrupt your attack with his attack.
Yep.
He could block from front and back.
And like you could stun him and then attack real quick, but it's like 2 hits and you had to bail out because he was coming right back at you.
Well, your window to stun him is so slow,
Right.
Or excuse me, so small.
Yeah.
And he hits hard. He hits fast. He moves fast. He's got a large health bar too. A lot of health.
Yeah. For all these enemies here, he does have a lot of health.
And you would think it's like, oh man, the bosses are really going to be stepped up from here if this guy's the first boss of the time travel levels. No, not so much.
Not so much. He's the hardest one. Well,
he's an enigma. He's the hardest boss in the game.
Okay. Yeah.
I think so, because his block makes him overpowered.
Yeah.
If he didn't have that block,
not unbeatable, but overpowered. If you're going to try to go through this with 1 life, you better be really good at this game.
And when I was a kid,
I tried on hard.
I tried to get through. I thought I could get through the whole game without getting hit. I got through level 2. I could get through level 2.
Yeah, sewer surfing's always been hard to do that.
The gates always got me.
Yeah.
But I know now. There's no way I get through prehistoric turtle source. I get choked up thinking about it.
But you do eventually beat him. Yeah, he is an overpowered boss a little bit. And it's funny because we're talking about how easy this game is, and yet we're complaining about how hard this boss was.
Well, it's weird. He stands out. He's very, like I said, he's an enigma in the game.
Which I'd have to go back and really remember Slash's origins with all of this.
He's like a bizarro turtle.
Yeah, basically. Like, I don't know. I can't remember where he came from, though. Like, was Shredder like, oh, the only way to beat a turtle is have a turtle, and we're going to make this turtle, and we'll call him Slash and go get him.
Yo, dog, I heard you like turtles. But I still like this level a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Despite
Visually,
the boss that gets on my nerves.
Visually, and the way they incorporate the time period with, like, the weapons and stuff, the dinosaurs, the foot riding the dinosaurs, was always a neat little thing, too. So, But whenever you beat Slash, another portal jumps open, and you jump through the portal, which leads us to
Skull and Crossbone.
This is one of my favorite levels.
Agreed. It's hard to go against it, and I know this game came out before Donkey Kong Country, but you know as well as I know, one of my favorite Nintendo or Super Nintendo songs is the King K. Rool Battleship.
Gangplank Galleon.
And this right here reminds me of Gangplank Galleon. Just the setting, not so much the music, but the setting.
It's on a very large, multi-masted ship.
Oh, it's very large. But again, they use the background things as enemies, and one of the first things that you encounter is that stupid plank that would come up.
The plank hurt me more than the foot soldiers
Exactly.
did.
So in the game, you'll kind of see this little X kind of but this little X on the battleship. Well, if you walk onto that X, this plank will come up, and you're straight out of Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Stepping on a rake.
It hits you, it takes away health. I don't think it was in the arcade version.
It was in the remastered arcade version, so I think it was.
The side by side I watched, I don't think it may have been.
I think it was there, but the battleships weren't. Which
the other ships were not.
Right. So that was another neat thing where, as you progress through, you would look in the background, there'd be another pirate ship go by. So I guess. Which is weird. I guess that
firing very large cannonballs at you.
Real.
That looked suspiciously like the wrecking balls from Big Apple 3 AM.
Very suspicious. Maybe they went through the time portal too. So based on the way the ship is, I'll save that for later.
I'm trying to figure out
which direction the ship we're on is traveling. It's going from right to left, right?
No, it's going from left to right.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because that ship that we passed is going from right to left.
I thought we were both, because of the way...
If it's going from right to left, it would just stop. It would just keep up with us. But it's like they're passing like this.
Well, that's what I assumed. But when you get to the end, aren't you there with the captain's quarters, which is going to be toward the back of the boat? Table it. We'll think about it when we take a break.
We'll bring that up.
We'll table it.
In fact, hold on one second. We'll be right back. All right. So after a little research, the ship is going left to right.
Harry brought up a good point. Maybe the ship is anchored. I don't know.
But I feel like, I don't know, the game. What are you playing?
No,
but I'm watching Donatello get the crap kicked out of him.
Oh, I paused it. Oh, select pause. My bad. There we go. I was playing.
I can't watch
in
this.
Between.
But anyway, I feel like the background, I guess they felt was kind of bland.
Sure.
Because it's just the ocean.
Yeah.
So they added that in. But
that's a neat feature, though.
It is. It really, again, like I said, all these levels have their own little flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And that just adds to it. That's another little level of depth to this one that really makes it stand out.
And it fits because during the time period, this is what, 1530
or
something like that. So you go from 25 billion BC to 1530 AD.
A little jump there. Back to the golden age of piracy here.
Well, and that's one of your favorite times too, is it not?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Big
why you
fan
love
of pirates.
That's why you loved Assassin's Creed 4 so much.
Oh man, favorite one. 100% of it.
But yeah, I mean, everybody was against everybody. If you had a ship, then you're automatically my enemy. If I have a ship, so they're just firing on each other. So I like to think that it's the foot though, that they're like shooting at their own ship trying to kill the turtles.
I mean, I kill another foot soldier, no big deal. He's a robot.
Yeah, he's a robot.
The new enemies on this, you got the green foot soldier with the bow and arrow.
Yes, and they're flaming arrows, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can get the Al My Toe animation and sound with this as well.
You've got the yellow foot soldiers with that discus weapon that you pointed out look like a
it's like a bottle top.
Yeah.
Like from a glass Coke bottle.
It's like a weird frisbee. It's like, no, bro, I don't want to play ultimate frisbee with you. Then you've got the rock warriors, what you call them?
Yeah.
They come back, but now they've got a big gun.
Yeah. So this is one of the 4 different weapons that they can have. They have a gun. I want to say they had.
We'll get to them.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. It's 4 different weapons they can have.
But again, you progress forward and you get to the eventual back of the ship. And somehow, and
going forward, you get to the back.
And this right here is another slight difference just because of who the boss is.
Yeah, see, in the arcade version, here's where Toka and Raza are.
Right. And, okay, I get it. You know, Toka and Raza they have a place, but maybe not in 1530 AD. But on the Super Nintendo version, who should slide down the banister but Bebop and Rocksteady, complete with pirate garb? And I think that they're just, it makes it fit.
It does, because the type of enemies Bebop and Rocksteady are, you know, they're not serious.
No,
they're comic relief.
Exactly. And that's all they ever have been. The only time they were actually anything was like the first 2 episodes they were ever showed in. After that, they were just comic relief.
And you know, Bebop and Rocksteady, they're iconic Ninja Turtles villains.
Yeah, the reason the whole point that they're out of the original arcade is it's blasphemy.
Yeah, they're not an arcade version. That's weird. That's weird to me, because they come in, they add a little humor to it. Again, each level has its own little flavor, its own feel.
Yeah.
The fact that as they're fighting, was it Rocksteady has a rapier?
Yes.
And Bebop has a whip, and they can get them tied together.
Yeah, like Bebop will throw the whip and then to wrap around Rocksteady's sword, and like they're stuck with each other for a minute. But I thought this is another good. You know, when you think of Turtles, if you ever think of Turtles 2, it's always Toka and Razar, and it's always Bebop and Rocksteady. They're together. I mean, you're facing 2 enemies. So if you're playing through it in 1 player, you're still facing 2 enemies. If it's 2 players, you're still facing 2 enemies.
A lot easier than Toka and Razar, though.
Oh yeah, because some of their, like you said earlier, some of the things that they can do where they're hitting, they can hit each other, and I think that's actually the animation that happens as they end up killing over.
Yeah,
is they start kind of stabbing and whipping each other when they're trying to get you, and they end up killing themselves. So,
I will just say knocked each other out.
Okay, knocked each other out
for the sake of being a cartoon. Beat a puppy to death, but in the arcade version, a thunderstorm starts happening at this point. It gets dark and it starts raining.
Instantly dark.
Yeah, just there's no dusk. It's just boom dark, and like Silent Hill. And it's dark and it's raining, and I think lightning strike. I think lightning can hit you in the arcade version.
I don't know about that.
I don't know either. I just know you can see lightning strike.
You can see lightning strike. I don't know if it can strike you though.
But it doesn't do it in this. It stays the same weather.
Right.
On here.
But again, that might be a limitation more than anything else.
Might have been a just a choice.
So you defeat Bebop and Rocksteady. I almost made another freaking error.
Clintism.
Is that where we're going to go with it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Or spamism. There you go.
I like it. I like that one better. Another portal opens up.
Spam spasm. Sounds like a serious medical condition.
Another portal opens up.
Gotta help me, Doc. I had another spam spasm.
Oh, goodness.
Told you lay off the pork products.
Spam's not pork. It's a byproduct.
But I love this level. I do.
Yeah. This one right here is probably my number 2 favorite.
I agree.
My number 2, which number 1, after you travel through the portal, you go to my number 1 favorite.
Mine as well.
Which is...
Bury my shell at Wounded Knee.
The music to this level is amazing.
Dude, this is very Sunset Riders-esque, but then the upbeat of the music, I think that really is what makes the level my favorite.
And I've said before, I'm not a big fan of the Western style themes, but I love this one.
It works. It works.
Absolutely works.
Straight post Civil War era.
it's cool because you're on a train the entire time.
Yeah,
just working your way up.
You're just working your way all the way up until I don't know. I guess
to the boss room.
Well, till you get to the boss room, but I don't guess you're ever really working up to the engine. Like, no,
you see it, but you don't.
Okay,
go to it.
That's weird. Like, okay, we're just gonna keep going forward toward the engine. What for? Well, I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Yeah. Like, there's no like real.
I got a feeling there's someone we need to beat up.
Exactly. Next time, if I'm ever on a train, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna keep going until I get to the engine room and see if there's anybody there I need to beat up. Some neat things about this one. There's the guy hiding in the poncho.
Yeah.
In the background.
The guy on the horse.
At the very start. The barrels.
Big barrels.
Kick the barrels over.
Then some drop when you get to the covered cars.
Fireworks. Isn't there a firework?
Yeah, fireworks that can explode.
Yeah. Illegal fireworks smugglers.
Which I don't have we seen that since level 1? Those traps like that.
What?
The exploding trap. The exploding barrel in the first level.
Exploding traps. I don't think so.
So those make a return finally.
Right. None of the Technodrome. There's the holes. I think that's it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any. No, you got the bombs. The bombs that the foot soldiers throw. That's the only thing.
Well, that's not the trap though. Like that thing up there. You just hit it.
Right.
After a few seconds, it explodes.
No, that's the
only
other
other
point. Yeah.
Yeah. Second time you've seen it. You also got the
rock soldiers make a return as well.
Yep, and you've got the foot soldier with the scorpion hook.
Ah, I remember that because
it's just like it's like from Scorpion, Mortal Kombat.
Right.
Get over here. it looks just like it. That they sit there and they
twirl it around and throw it. Yeah.
There's a name for that weapon. I kept
calling it a hook shot, and you corrected me, and then told me about Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
you're gonna make me want to play that game.
Oh, Twilight Princess. We got 2 of them.
Oh, you told me about Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
That's
hook
right.
shot's not in Breath of the Wild. If it was, You also got the rock soldier with the big beam.
Yeah, and when he hits you, you'll kind of do this spinning around thing, and you'll fall down. So it takes quite a bit of power away from you when you get hit with it.
And then rock soldier with a bazooka, which is a bit overkill on a train.
A bit. It seems like it would do more damage than it actually does, but hey, it works, I guess.
It's like, we're going to be in a closed area. What are you bringing to fight the turtles? I'm going to bring a bazooka.
This is where I made the comment of it being like a cheap Nerf gun toy, right? Because when he shoots it, it goes like 2 feet in front of him and explodes.
No, that was the other weapon.
Oh.
You see later on.
Okay.
I don't remember watching them fire the bazooka.
I think we hit them too much before they could ever get to.
It was the later guns that we said that we might need to let them live a little longer. Right.
Well, that was the thing too. Even when we were letting them live, they weren't using them. They just come up and still try to hit you with whatever they had. So
I'm gonna use a bazooka. You got any ammo for that? No, I'm just gonna hit them with it.
I'm just gonna hit them with it. So,
working your way up the train.
Work your way up. You got to watch out for the barrels that are falling the closer you get to the boss. And the boss is
Leatherhead.
I thought it was Ed Ogeron.
It's in my head he sounds like Ed Ogeron when he talks.
That's funny.
He's a Cajun.
He's a Cajun alligator.
Yeah.
He's a mutated alligator.
Was he a good guy in the cartoon?
No, he was a good guy in the newer cartoon.
Okay, that's right.
So that's where that kind of came from. But you learned something new on
did.
this one too.
Because one of his attacks, he's got one where he throws knives at you. I knew what that was. There's another one where he's throwing crawfish at you.
And Hammy didn't know it was crawfish until I kind of said it last night.
You know, when I played through this so many times as a kid, I was playing on a 17-inch. I think
CRT TV.
CRT, I think black and white TV.
There you go. Kids, we're that old.
No, it wasn't that I was that old. It's all I had.
Well, that's true. That's true. We got the hand-me-downs of what our parents had.
Right. But I always thought it was like slingshots just thrown at you. This doesn't make sense, but whatever. I'll just roll with it.
Yeah, I lost it when he said, those are crawfish. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Leatherhead's probably my favorite boss. Like, I've loved the other ones, but Leatherhead's my favorite. I don't know why.
He's very predictable in his attacks.
Sure.
But he's pretty fun.
Yeah. But eventually, like everyone else, you end up beating him.
Well, you beat him and he falls off the train. And I always thought it was funny when he fell off in the tunnel because like you get scraped up against the edge.
Yeah.
But in the arcade, he just like Baxter Stockman just falls over.
Yeah. One thing you do have to watch out for him is that charge attack though, because he'll go down to all fours and charge across from you.
Yeah.
If you don't get that will try to hit a lot of damage too.
Super easy to avoid though.
It is a lot of jumping around. But again, another portal opens up and we go to
Neon Knight Riders.
Here we are in the distant future of 2020. Next year, folks.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get after it if we're gonna have hoverboards and helicopter, single pilot helicopters and.
Yeah, those helicopter foot soldiers kind of gave you a little.
Well, see, this right here was a lot like the sewer level, but except for going left or right, it actually turned the camera where you're going straight down, which was something that wasn't in the arcade version.
Now, the arcade, you were always left to right.
Right.
Also,
but they ran this more as like a bonus,
yeah,
like they did with the sewer level.
well, they had a boss at the end of it too. It's the same boss,
Right.
but yeah, this one you're going forward to or back, from foreground to background, I guess. 3D kind of feel.
Right. No
Lot of
curves.
fun.
A lot of fun. No curves.
Yeah, just hard angles.
Yeah, hard angles. We'll go slide right, slide right, slide left.
So
remind me a
I
lot
guess-
of Mario Kart.
I guess they got that part right in the 2020 thing. Yeah, those little things you had to jump over.
Yeah.
That would electrocute you.
Right.
But yeah, the arcade, it was left to right. I will say this: the city looked a lot better in the arcade
Again, that's a graphical thing. though.
because I mean the background part looked the same, but there was more like up under the
the high rise road or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
like actual buildings you can make out and different colored lots and stuff.
I feel like that this right here, the road we were on with this is like what downtown Birmingham's interstates are right now.
Yeah, actually, those are non-existent.
Yeah.
But
I'm talking about the gaps in between.
kind of a cyberpunk feel to this level.
Okay. Haven't played that one yet.
Well, I mean, not cyberpunk game. I mean, cyberpunk as a genre.
Oh, okay. I got you.
The neon lights, futuristic, somewhat dystopian.
Or Batman Forever.
Yeah. This, and I was thinking, is there anywhere in the world that kind of looks like that now? Maybe Dubai.
Maybe Dubai. That's about the only place.
So
I can
they're in
feel.
Dubai. We're going to say that in 2020.
Maybe they'll have hoverboards and flying cars. At
You
that
know,
point.
instead of making that stupid looking Cybertruck that looks like something from Star Fox 64, they need to work on hover bikes
Dude,
or hoverboards.
have you seen where Halo is running with that? Like they've input, Photoshop some Spartans in it and put a Gauss gun on the back of it. It's funny.
That's awesome.
That's what it looks like, though. It just looks like the Warthog with sideboards.
But I really like this level.
I do. I care less for the boss, though.
You could or you couldn't.
I could not care less for the boss.
Right.
There you go. I had to think about that one for a minute.
It's all right. Yep. It's Krang again in his shrunken form.
Yeah, so he's back to like, I want to say normal size. Yeah, the suit's big anyway, but he's kind of, I don't know, just a little bit bigger than the Turtles.
If you're going to pick a humanoid suit, pick one that doesn't look like a buffer version of the dad from Alf. I mean, he looks like a giant nerd. That's sorry if I offend the dad from Alf, but I think that's what they were going for in the show. But
The dad from Alf with glasses, with glasses on.
well, he had glasses.
Oh, he did have glasses.
Uh-huh.
That's right. Oh, he's running around in his underwear anyway, and low top shoes.
like if he can't beat the Turtles, he's going to join WWE. But he was an all right boss. I don't remember ever really having trouble with him.
I had a little.
I remember
bit of
you.
trouble
Yeah, I
with
was like, I remember
him.
you
I had a
having
little bit of trouble with him, man. Golly.
Well, what are your attacks? He had that kick.
He had the kick.
He had vomit up those bombs.
Right, and then it seemed like there was something
Missiles
else.
out of his chest.
The missile out of his chest. That was it, because they had that little cavity that opened up and it
And
looked like
then-
a mouth.
And he had a double axe handle.
I mean, you'd think he's kind of simple and kind of easy, but there's just a lot going on to it, and he's not overpowered. But again, as the game's going on, the bosses have gotten a little bit harder, at least until Leatherhead. But
Well, I mean, shoot. No, Slash, they've been downhills in Slash.
well, you got a point there.
And he's not bad. You just learn what he's going to do. He can see his tails.
Yeah,
And move around.
yeah, you can see the guy jump in the background and know that's when you got to punch Mike Tyson.
Right. He, once you beat him, the suit, Krang separates himself from the suit and vows revenge as his suit explodes.
Right.
Falls into Dubai.
Poor Dubai. But another portal opens up, and we end up in
Starbase, where no turtle has gone before.
So, 80 years later?
2100 AD.
I think you're possibly on Mars.
Maybe, or you're in Bryant Denny Stadium.
Oh, God, those lights. They're worse than the arcade version. Let me just go ahead and say, look, I hate the lights they're doing at Bryant Denny.
It's everywhere.
They
though.
make me sick.
They're in the pros now.
The whole bright dim that thing. It just gives me a headache. Makes me like nauseous.
Yeah.
And they had this going on in that level.
There's the background. It's like past the midway point because you pointed it out, said, "Oh, look in the background," and it didn't happen. You said, "Well, maybe it doesn't happen here." And then we got to the next part where it had a background showing Mars or wherever we're at, and it was kind of lighting up like that.
Right.
So this right here is kind of the last hurrah for the Technodrome.
And no, this is
Mars,
Starbase.
Starbase, that's what it is.
And I'll be honest, I don't really like this level. This is my least favorite of all the levels.
Okay. I mean, I kind of like it in the sense that they're throwing everything they can at you. So your enemies are up, your numbers are up, the different kinds of enemies are up.
The rock soldiers show up with the I guess we called it a nade launcher.
Right.
That's the one you said looked like a bad Nerf gun.
Yeah. It's like it's just kind of
like a Bill's dollar store.
Nobody's
Nerf
gonna get
gun.
Bill's dollar
No,
store.
they're not.
But yeah, you would kind of push the trigger and I guess the spring or something would get worn out and like the little foam dart would barely come out. That's what it looked like. Like it's barely coming out.
It's a Kmart special.
Then
you had the rock soldiers with the Tesla gun.
Right.
That's what I was calling
That's
it.
the first time we saw it. It's an electric gun.
It took them forever to finally shoot us with it.
It really did. They kept wanting to hit us like baseball bats. You had the floor that would turn to ice. So that was another new one.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to do with your floor.
Yeah. I've heard of heated floors.
Yeah, those are freeze you to death floors.
I don't really think there was a whole lot. I think there's a little beam that comes out that shoots across.
Yeah, that little robot that's stuck on the track.
Yeah. And then the
giant,
garbage pail foot soldiers.
Yeah. The giant cannonballs
that were just sitting there. You could
that
hit.
have been following you since level 1. The wrecking balls.
Yep.
You could hit them and send them flying.
Yeah, I don't think we actually hit anybody when we hit them though.
No,
not in our playthrough.
No, because I didn't want them to start coming after me.
Yeah,
these things have haunted me.
It's like a chain chomp without the chain,
right? And you get to the boss, which is Krang
2.0,
a UFO.
He's in this UFO kind of weird flying saucer thing that shoots bubbles.
Yeah.
And it does the smash. We didn't see it do the smash.
We didn't. I watched an arcade playthrough because I barely touched the arcade version, so I was wanting to see if this fight was different. And I didn't see him do the smash move in the arcade, so I assumed, maybe it's not in there. But we didn't see it in our playthrough, and I know he does it.
Yeah.
So maybe he has it. We just didn't see it.
Well, maybe we just stayed on top of him. That's when we beat the game in 30
God, we destroyed him. That's the fastest I've ever beaten him.
Same. I've made it to that point, playing with just a couple of lives or whatever, and made it to that point and died. But yeah, I think I only got trapped in a bubble the one time. He shoots these little bubbles out from the side. If you get into it, and your turtle's stuck, and you have to start pressing a button, and it'll take a little bit of life away, but nothing major.
He drops these little robots, which are, according to the instruction booklet, called A6 Annihilators.
Okay. What do we say they were?
We said it was a cross between Roadkill Rodney and a Mouser.
Yeah, that fits because they're kind of like the Mousers, where instead of the Mouser has the 2 feet that kind of looks like a wind-up toy. This one's kind of got the 4 that's kind of like tentacles that'll kind of run around.
And they're a one-hit kill, but
Right.
they have the same attacks as the Rodneys.
Yeah, they shoot this little round laser beam thing at you that'll hit you. So, but we made short work out of Krang.
Yeah, we did.
And
not crazy about the boss fight. Never really been crazy about it. This was when he starts doing the smash move. It gets annoying.
Yeah, because it's hard to get around.
Yeah, you can't
because
hit him.
He's in such a big, his spaceship takes up so much of the area.
Yeah.
It's hard to get around.
But my least favorite level, probably my second least favorite boss fight.
Behind Slash.
Yeah. Slash will forever be number 1.
So eventually Krang blows up. He's completely gone, annihilated. And another portal shows up.
And the turtles make notes. Hey, we can get home through there.
Yep, that's our ticket home, and they jump through, which brings us to
Technodrome, the final shell shock.
Now this boss fight taking place in front of the Statue of Liberty.
Yep.
Apparently in the Technodrome.
Apparently.
Uh,
Hold on. So the Statue of Liberty will fit inside the Technodrome.
Yeah, I guess so.
So that means the Technodrome's got to be what, like 400 feet tall in caverns underneath New York?
Let me tell you, New York's going to fall in.
or sink if it's in Manhattan.
Right. This boss fight's a lot different.
Yeah,
the two versions.
It is. In the arcade version, Shredder had a lightsaber.
Yeah,
basically.
a green lightsaber. He's a Jedi.
And I don't think he could do the mutagen shot, could he?
I didn't even notice when I was watching the playthrough because I was
something that he
laughing so
can't
hard
do.
at him having a lightsaber.
But in our version, the one that we played through, he had what? He had the ice, he had the fire, he had the mutagen, and the, I want to call it like a shadow kick or shadow shoulder.
Yeah, Johnny Cage's shadow kick. So he was a Mortal Kombat mashup, but he's Super Shredder also.
Yeah, he transforms himself into Super Shredder somewhere. So he's regular, he's kind of floating there, and all of a sudden he becomes Super Shredder,
which is a much cooler fight.
It really is. I still don't see how mutagen makes your metal grow bigger.
I don't know, but this is a point where you had to do your second continue, and you didn't know if you wanted to change turtles.
Yeah, I was Donatello the entire way through, and I was like, we're almost through. I don't know if we'll play another playthrough. Do I need to get another turtle? And you're like, yeah, we're almost done. Just keep with Donatello. And
we made pretty short work of Shredder, I think.
We did. We kind of had to figure out how his movesets were going.
He's hard to hit because he'll
move around quite a bit.
And when he stops, he does that little like flames around him. It's hard to hit him.
Right.
So you've got a minuscule window of opportunity there too.
How many times did we get transformed to little turtles with that mutagen shot?
I did once.
I was a handful of times myself. It was a lot more than just once anyway. But eventually you make short work of the Shredder.
And he falls over the railing.
And you've saved the day.
You've done it. In 30 minutes you've saved the Statue of Liberty.
In shorter amount of time than this podcast has been.
Not the world. You didn't save the world. You saved people.
You saved a copper statue.
Yeah, you got back a copper statue.
So the right before the end credits, you see April. She's reporting the news again, and it looks like it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's the morning yet. I guess maybe it's noon. It wasn't as dusky as it was the first time.
Don't know how long you were back in time.
Exactly. It might be yesterday. Yeah. But you see the turtles in their blimp, and they're flying the Statue of Liberty back. How big is that blimp got to be to hold
How
up?
powerful.
For real. Again,
it's a stout blimp.
Again, that's just some of the logic. I mean, it works if you're just thinking about, okay, they just flew it back with their blimp.
But so, they get it back. They saved the day. That crowd that was there at the beginning watching it get stolen is apparently still there.
Right.
Yeah, our good friend Alex Taylor is in the game.
Yeah, he makes a cameo. He's the weird little kid jumping up, going, yeah.
He never listens to this. He'll never hear it.
He'll hear it like years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's the end of the game. You've saved the Statue of Liberty. You've traveled through time, and
I know we've mentioned several times we beat it on hard in 30 minutes or less.
Yeah,
it still doesn't change the fact this is a freaking fun game.
Oh yeah, I mean, sometimes you just need a game. You've got your phones now, and it's swipe left, swipe right. You've beaten a game, whatever. Sometimes it's just fun to pick up a game where you just mash some buttons and you just keep going and you eventually beat it. Even like Mario, you've got to jump over obstacles. It's a platformer. Whereas this right here, you just run through, beat them up before they beat you up, and you eventually win the game.
It's satisfying.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's the king of retro game night.
Yeah. This right here is a must play on a retro game night.
Absolutely.
I know we've done a few games here lately where it's like, is this a retro game night game? It's, and we've said, yeah, you break it out to show them.
Yeah.
But it's not we're going to play through it and beat it this night. This is the epitome of that. You're going to play this game. Yeah. You're going to beat it in one playthrough. And then before you move on to your next game, you might even beat it twice. That way you can use, both
yeah.
sets of turtles.
All four turtles.
So enjoyed it, buddy. I enjoyed the crap out of this game.
I absolutely love this game. One of my all-time favorites.
I'm glad that we got to it. Real quick, just do want to mention that the arcade version did have a remaster that didn't do too hot. Apparently, they changed just enough of the stuff to make it where people didn't like it. But this right here's a far superior version. If you guys have any way of playing this game, by gosh, go play it. It is fantastic.
This is the time the Super Nintendo port is better than the original,
and that's hard to say a lot of times. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say, but really enjoyed it. So
I did too, and there's replayability to it.
Yeah, because especially if you're doing one player, you can play through the other turtles, and
they're different enough to make them. I mean, they feel different. They all play different,
right?
Because I always pick Leonardo as my favorite. He's the real balanced character. You got Donatello for the reach with his bow staff, which a lot of people don't realize is actually a little weaker than the other weapons, and he's slow. He's very slow. That's why I'm not a big fan of Donatello on here.
Well, this isn't necessarily a fast game because after you scroll to a certain point, you can't advance until you kill everybody anyway. So, to me, speed's not a huge thing with this particular game. Maybe in other beat 'em ups, but it's not a huge thing in this game.
I like it.
The speed?
Yeah.
No, I'm just talking about one player being faster than the other is not a huge factor in you beating this game. Or not.
I guess it's in the way I play.
Sure.
Michelangelo's all right. I do like Raphael, even though he's got very short range with his
size.
Yeah, his size. He is so fast.
Yeah, he is super quick. And you actually made mention of that when we played through. We did another quick playthrough just to kind of, go with the other turtles to see the differences and the similarities. And yeah, he's super fast. Everything he does is fast. And Michelangelo's kind of that way too. I guess it's because they got shorter weapons. I
think Leonardo's faster than Michelangelo.
Maybe.
But Michelangelo has a really cool weapon. He's second on reach, I think. I think it actually reaches out a little further than Leo's. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know he has that weird special move where he'll take the two nunchucks and he'll kind of go from opposite to same and kind of make an X with them.
Yeah.
And like if they had the animation to like cut the foot soldier's head off, that's what it would look like he was doing.
You got the time trial mode.
Yeah, you got the time trial mode, which is let's see, it's Big Apple, 3 a.m. It's Alley Cat Blues, and there's only 3.
It's the first 4 levels. Beat them in 3 minutes.
Well, it doesn't have sewer surfing in it, so it's not the first 4.
Technodrome.
No.
And it's
no, it's prehistoric Turtlesaurus because
you can just pull it up.
I can. No, it's prehistoric Turtlesaurus because you said there's no way you'll beat Slash in 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's the first 3 minus. It's Big Apple, Alley Cat Blues, Technodrome, and
I don't think
prehistoric
was in it. I think it only had 4 options. One of the options was.
Oh, you're right.
Crap. I don't know how to go back.
It's only 3 levels then.
Yeah, it's 3 levels, and the 4th option is exit. I do remember.
Okay. I was thinking 4 levels.
Right. It's the first 3 playthrough levels, I guess.
Yeah, I never did it.
well, you got that, and you got a neat little thing. Also, the versus, which is the 4 turtles versus each other.
It's Mortal Kombat minus the mortal.
Well, I mean, you've got your special moves, you've got, your hit and your punch and all that kind of stuff. And this right here is where, like, your speed would really come into play at. But in my opinion, this right here is what kind of led to the next game in the series, which was the Tournament Fighters, which you had all the Mortal Kombat, listen to me. You had all the Ninja Turtles, and I want to say that all the moves were based off of Street Fighter. Like, all of Leo's movesets completely made out of Street Fighter.
I don't know.
So
I didn't play it.
We've dabbled in it. We didn't like go full blown into it though.
Nah.
But that was a fun game too. I mean, just if you just want to fight with turtles. I mean, so
not literally fight with turtles. Please don't do that. I like turtles.
So
couple of things about this game that I liked and what I didn't like.
Okay.
Well, I think I've gone over everything I've liked. What I didn't like, the specials. The specials are worthless.
Okay.
I'm sorry. For what they cost in health
Right.
versus what they do is not worth it to me.
That's fair enough.
I think the specials, if they're going to cost you life, need to do more. They need to be screen clearers.
I could see that, but I don't think, even on hard, I don't think there was a time where we were just completely overwhelmed.
I used my special once or twice just to do it.
Exactly. That's where I was
to
too.
lose the health, just to do something that's maybe just a touch more powerful than your normal attack.
Right.
And they kind of suck.
Well, if
Leo just spins his swords around.
Right.
Donatello does the almost pole vault kick.
Right. Raphael does Hulk Hogan's big boot.
Did you just get? Oh my God! Please reset the game.
Oh.
I'm watching Leonardo get beat up over and over. Yeah, Raphael does the Black Mass kick.
Right.
The Aleister Black does, which that instruction booklet says it's the best special in the game. That's stupid. That's the
yeah. That's
and Michelangelo does that lunge forward. They don't feel like special moves.
right.
They feel like, why can't I just do this move anyway?
Right.
I think either they take away the
We'll make like X a button or A a button.
right. I think they take away the health penalty and it's fine.
Well, I think because it is I don't want to call it a special move, a more powerful move, that they want to give you a risk versus reward factor that goes with it. Because
Yeah.
if you don't, you would use it all. If it was a regular button, it did nothing. You might be more apt to use it.
It doesn't
all the
do
time.
enough, I think, to warrant that.
Okay.
I mean, if they needed to make it a little more spectacular,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean, but if you got
maybe
within-
Leo spins all the way around.
Okay.
Maybe Raphael throws his side at someone.
Right.
Maybe a ranged attack.
Sure.
That's something else I kind of wish, maybe you find some throw-in stars and you've only got 2 or 3 of them.
What do you think this is? Turtles 1?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
The special attacks just don't feel special
I can see that.
to me.
I can see that.
I know we both talked about, this isn't really a con, but something we would have loved to have seen was 4-player.
4-player, especially knowing that they had the technology to do it and it didn't support it.
Yeah.
But again, we experienced a couple of times where the game kind of lagged just a little bit.
Oh,
When
yeah.
it got super
On
full.
Neon Knight Riders.
Yeah. And
That
imagine 4 on that.
that frame rate dropped on down.
Yeah, it did.
So I think that's probably why they don't have it. It's because
More than likely.
it's too taxing on the system.
More than likely.
But I want to see, and we had the reshelled, the
Right.
HD remake. I want to see a remake of this version in particular.
Like, I wonder how they
No.
got around to do the reshelled and what it would take to get a workaround for this
I mean,
from licensing.
I don't even need a big graphical jump.
No.
I want 4-player online.
4-player online, maybe just some extra little thing, maybe another level, maybe
Yeah.
I'd pay $9.99 for something like that. I mean, they've got the game already. All they got to do is just add a little to it.
I really hope it ends up on the Switch, the SNES online.
Oh, I'd play it. I'd play it a lot.
I just don't know if it will.
# free Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
That I don't know why that was not on there.
They're probably saving it for Christmas. I imagine it will be.
It was the next announcement for anything like that. Weren't they supposed to have a big announcement those past couple of days?
They let you know like a few days in advance. That's about it.
Okay, well, # free Donkey Kong Country. I would hope that when they did it, they did all 3 of them, but that's just me.
But that's really, I guess, my only con is the specials just don't feel special. There's not a whole lot, I've talked about in other games, like you get stun locked,
Right.
especially Jurassic Park. You get stun locked in that and just get to a point where you're getting pushed around. There's nothing you can do about it. You don't get that in this game.
No, you don't. Now you will get kicked back.
You will, but you're not in a point where they can just sit there and combo on you.
Right. So I think they did a good job. I mean, I think the formula was already out there to do this as a good job. They just perfected it. I mean, it's perfected.
Oh yeah,
I mean, this is a perfect beat 'em up.
it really is.
I mean, maybe a little too easy, maybe a little too short. Those might be cons. I don't know, but it's hard to.
Well, it doesn't linger. Like I said,
You start putting too much, then it maybe it's not the perfect beat 'em up that it is.
Right.
So I absolutely would give this a top 10 SNES game of all time, though.
I think so too.
The fact that it wasn't on the classic is a real shame.
I mean,
I know licensing, but you can get around that some way or another.
And you know, you can talk about, you know, complex stories or this and that. Fun factor is a big thing for games for me.
And I think that's why Nintendo and the Switch are making a comeback. Just fun factor.
They're making games fun again.
Yeah. So, but I enjoyed it. You want to let the
unlike PlayStation with its Death Stranding, but the story's so good, and you just walk around delivering packages.
That's it. Try not to drop them.
You know what? Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time is better than Death Stranding.
There you
I
said
have
it.
to play it.
There you said it.
Actually, I can't say that till I play it, but
okay,
it looks better.
So, do you want to take a quick break?
Yeah,
and then jump into the questions.
We'll do that. We'll be right back. All right. So now we're done with our review. Have some podcast questions from Roast Beef.
Cool.
So weird calling him that.
It is.
By the way, he's the one who got me to play this game first.
Really?
Yeah. He had it at his house. It's where I got into a lot of games because him and his brothers would get them. I would go over there and play them, and then I'd come home and pester my family members till I got it. Because I was like 9, I couldn't get it on my own.
Mom and Dad, I don't care about the heat. I want this game.
Well, that was my sister got me this one.
Oh yeah.
His first question.
Oh, first question. Okay.
Podcast. Talking about this is an arcade port. What was your all-time favorite arcade game?
Easy. All-time favorite's got to be the original Ninja Turtle. I spent more money in quarters on the original Ninja Turtles arcade game than I did any game. Absolutely 110%. I remember my dad was one of those that would walk around with a whole handful of change, and then he'd like lay it on the bedside table, and then when he went out the next day, he'd come back and somehow he'd have another handful of change in his pockets the next day. I would go through and steal all the quarters just so we could go to the skating rink and I could play that game. But I'm going to do you one even better and tell you my top 3. Number 1 is going to be Ninja Turtles, the original Ninja Turtles on arcade. Number 2 is the Simpsons arcade.
Yeah.
Because I played the crap out of that one. And then number 3 is probably going to be a tie between X-Men Children of the Atom or Mortal Kombat 2.
Ah.
So if you're going strict arcade platform, you got those 3. If you're going all time, I might throw Mortal Kombat over X-Men but it's a fighting game, so it's a little different genre. But 3A, 3B, but 1 and 2 are locked in stone.
I didn't play a whole lot of arcade games.
Sure.
Coming up, but I would have to say my favorite arcade game that I did play was Cruising.
I did play that one after quite a bit.
Cruising USA. I played Mortal Kombat. I love Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah.
Played a lot of it in arcade.
Yeah.
God, I wish I could get that on arcade, like the original.
Well, they have that at that 1UP arcade where I think the first 3 are all on the arcade. The little stand-up arcade, little cheap stand-up arcades are selling at Walmart now, I think.
Yeah, I don't think those are worth it.
Well,
we've talked about what we can do.
Yeah, we have talked about what we can do.
And then my third is Hydro Thunder.
What was your second?
Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh, okay.
Hydro
I can't hear
Thunder.
you for some reason, I guess. I don't know.
But did you ever play Hydro Thunder, the boat racing game?
I played it on Xbox 360 when it was a free game.
And you know, I'm not a big fan of racing games unless they have Super Mario in the title.
Sure.
But on arcade, I love them.
Yeah.
I absolutely love them.
There's something about it, especially some of those where you can get behind a steering wheel. That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
I remember playing, I guess it was maybe it was Cruising World, not Cruising USA, but that's the first time I ever drove a car that had the the limitations. Like you can only turn it so far, and then it start trying to go against you. I was like, what is this crap
What's going on? His next question, he brings up a good point. Rural Alabama wasn't a great place for arcades.
Nope.
Where did you play arcade games at? Oh, by the way, his favorite arcade game was Turtles 4, and he also liked Earth Defense Force. Turtles in Time, I should say.
Right.
He said that he had a Pizza Hut in his hometown and a CC's Pizza close by is where he played his arcade games. I'd say mine was Aladdin's Castle.
Same.
Also, the skating rink had a few.
Skating rink had a good handful. They still got a good handful.
The movie. I think the theater had.
That's where I played X-Men: Children of the Atom. Was the movie theater, but I also played. I think it was called Captain America and the Avengers.
Okay.
And it had a SNES port that wasn't anywhere close to being up to par.
We played that.
Yeah, but it was a good. It was a good arcade game as well. Not top 3 obviously, but that was the old movie theater over there behind the Arby's. That's where I remember playing those two at for sure.
We had CC's, had some games.
Yeah,
they had Cruising World.
Yeah, most everybody played Walmart. Walmart would have Cruising World.
Walmart and Aniana.
Yeah,
I remember I played Tekken there arcade.
I remember my buddy Charles. He was really big in the arcade fighters, and he would play like Tekken and Tekken Tag and Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 and all of those there at Aladdin's Castle. But real quick before we move on to his other question, the first time that I ever played Turtles in Time was at Whitewater.
Yeah, you sound like
Whitewater. It was at Whitewater over in Atlanta. It was years ago. And what?
I was thinking, just go ahead. I got a story.
Anyway, Dad worked and got us got some time to take us to Six Flags, and we spent the entire day at Six Flags. And the very next day went to Whitewater and spent the entire day at Whitewater.
Holy crap, what an awesome vacation.
Exactly. So they had suspended everybody from being in the water. So what a lot of people do, they'd go and get, because of lightning, they would go like to, McDonald's, go off site or whatever. Well, we just went to the arcade.
Mm-hmm. And
I probably spent $12 in quarters playing Turtles in Time. That's the first time I ever played that game. I was like, this is awesome. This is the coolest thing ever. And I don't really remember a whole lot about the game. I just remember spending like $12 in quarters for it. But then whenever this came out for Super Nintendo, I was like, what? Like, and then it's different too. I do remember some of the differences. And, then of course you and I, we got together and started playing it. And it's like, so many great memories.
I played a lot of Mortal Kombat 2 at Six Flags. I remember that.
Yeah.
I was thinking when you were playing NFL Blitz at on that field trip.
On that bowling alley?
Yeah, that bowling alley.
Yeah, we were big into wrestling at that point, and I was playing, and I was beating everybody. We were playing some NFL Blitz. I was just beating the crap out of everybody. Well, like I'm sitting there playing some guy, and all of a sudden, it's a Thursday night because Thunder was on.
Yes,
Hammy comes over and he says, "Oh my God, Clint, Sting's talking," and that's like the only thing in the world that would have drugged me away from that beatdown I was giving that kid.
You just left.
I left it.
You left the game, the kid, and everything.
I didn't bowl it all that night. I went straight over and we got in front of the TV and just started watching it. We were like just giddy because Sting was talking for the first time in like 3 years.
One last thing. When I was real little, my parents and I would go on vacation down to the beach. Mm-hmm. The hotel we stayed at had a I don't say it's a laundry. Well, it had stuff in there to wash your clothes, but beside it had a room with Donkey Kong on arcade.
The original.
Okay. And I would forget the beach. I want to go down here and play Donkey Kong.
Exactly. We had a Frogger machine at the local laundromat up in Rainbow City, and we would go up there and we would play a crap load of Frogger while Dad was doing his laundry because Mom wouldn't let him use that. My dad was a mechanic, so he's always had greasy clothes, and Mom would not let him put his greasy clothes in her good washer, so he always had to take his clothes to the laundromat. So he'd get like a bunch of clothes, and we just go and spend a couple hours with the laundromat washing them up there. So we played a lot of Frogger up there.
And his final question.
What's the second question?
Where we play arcade games at?
Oh, okay.
His final question.
How
I'm
did I
just going to read
forget
it verbatim. It says, finally, have you played modern arcade games? The new bowling alley in Tuscaloosa has a giant Mario Kart set up with 4 driving seats with a steering wheel and pedals. Little kid me would have been obsessed with that. Yes, I spent $20 playing.
Modern arcade, yeah, sort of. We took a trip up to Huntsville for spring break this past year. Went to Top Golf, had a good time up there, and then we went to, I think it's Rocket City Arcades. Highly recommend it. They got a ton of pinball up there if you're into pinball, but they had a lot of the old school arcade games. The one that I really wanted to play that I wasn't able to play was The Simpsons. They didn't have The Simpsons, but I played X-Men, I played Mortal Kombat, and I played Ninja Turtles.
They had Mario Kart there too, didn't
But
they?
that's where I was getting to. They also had Mario Kart. They had a 4-booth station, but one of them was down.
Mm.
So it was me and Caitlin and Maze. We were all racing against each other. And I got my butt kicked in it. Mario Kart with a steering wheel is completely different than Mario Kart with a controller. I don't know why. It just is, because you're sitting there, you're trying to control the acceleration with your feet, and you're trying to steer, and it's another one of those where you can only steer so far before it starts fighting back. And it wasn't my favorite. And also, I think my machine is the one that like you had the almost like nitrous oxide triggers on the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine were broken because I couldn't use any of the specials. I'd get it, but then I couldn't use it. So
that sucks.
It was just a bad experience. But yeah, we played that. Dave and Buster's is another good one to
Never
go to.
been to one.
There's a new one in Birmingham. We went to the one at the beach a couple of years back, and we spent a ton of time in there just playing games.
I can honestly say,
and the bowling alley in Trussville too.
I haven't played an arcade game in probably 20 years.
Wow. We need to make a trip. We need to get with Casey, and we need to make a trip and go out there to Rocket City Arcades. They have all 3. Well, I can't remember. I think they've got Ultimate Combat 3 instead of Mortal Kombat 3. I might be wrong. But the border where the TV screen is, the screen is and everything, they've got like a little snippet of the character, all their moves, and their fatalities. So it's like you don't even have to remember what the fatalities are.
Oh, that's cheap.
Well, if you can't remember them.
Part of it, yeah, part of the awesomeness is remembering it.
Well, you're not wrong. There you go.
My speech is getting slurred. I'm catching your stroke.
It's airborne. But yeah, so that was helpful. It was more helpful to Maze than it was for me. I remember a lot of the fatalities and things like that, especially in Mortal Kombat 2. So, but yeah, we had a good time up there. We certainly did. We'll end up back there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Roast Beef, for the questions.
Was the third one really a question? I mean, just modern art. I don't know if they do.
Yeah, have you played modern arcades?
But what modern arcades are there now? Like,
we just talked about Dave and Buster's and Rocket City Arcades.
Yeah, but it's all retro. Most all that is retro.
Yeah, I wonder if they do make new ones.
Retro and racing. That's it for the most part.
Well, the Mario Kart's new. Because from what I've read, it's not a
racing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not talking about genre. I'm talking about new games.
Well, no, but retro. It's retro and racing.
I mean, shooters. I mean, you're putting out new shooters. They're still shooters.
Well, maybe. I think there was a Halo port.
There was
to an arcade, I think there's some Guitar Hero as well. Some Guitar Hero. The old school, not that new one that's got the 6 buttons that are like white and black and all that crap. It's the original red, green, yellow, blue, and orange.
Look, I don't know. I was the bass player in our band. You were the drummer.
I was the drummer. What was the name of our band?
192.5 square feet of machine.
Thank you. Thank you. Just random name generator for bands.
for rock band.
So. Good episode, buddy. I enjoyed this one.
Yeah. We'll talk about our next one. What we're going to do since it's Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, that's the thing. We've got some stuff planned out, but because of Thanksgiving and schedule stuff, we may have to just we'll be here for sure. It may be a quick episode. It may just be, just you and I kind of talking about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it won't be a retro review.
Right. I think this one's going to be along the lines of more like a bonus episode, I think.
Somewhat. It's a special holiday Thanksgiving with ham and spam.
There you go. I like it. What
We almost need turkey
Yeah, we almost do.
for Thanksgiving.
What we're gonna do though, we're just gonna send out a YouTube link to a new log and just just let you watch it for 2 hours.
We can also announce the Christmas episode because we're gonna have something different.
Yeah, we're gonna do a
Kinda
little something for the Christmas episode because it happened at the spur of the moment, literally last night, and we're gonna make it happen because it sounds amazing. A couple of weeks back, we did a movie review of Hammy's all-time favorite movie, which was
Jurassic Park.
Thank you. So we talked about, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this movie? We go ahead and spoil the movie?
Let's go ahead and spoil it.
Okay. We're going to do Christmas Vacation. We're going to do a watch-along with Christmas Vacation.
And a very special guest
Yep.
who has not been on the show.
Has not.
But
We'll have to give him a name.
His presence has been in every episode.
Show. Yep.
Let's just, you can tell who it is.
Yeah, it's Justin.
It's Justin, the guy who wrote our theme music here at the beginning.
Yeah, I think he's looking forward to this too because usually we'll tell more, but usually we get together every year and watch this movie. No matter what, we've all seen it a billion times.
We could probably quote it verbatim.
I don't know if we want
all of us.
Maybe we can. We'll see. Do we want to do that on this episode to see how much we can do?
Nah.
It'll ruin it a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, I'm kind of looking forward to that.
I'm too.
A little different. Great movie that we're all into. So
you got that to look forward to coming up when we get close to Christmas.
Real quick, I do want to say a couple of things. Talk or Go Home, our good friends over at Talk or Go Home with Brandon and Nick, they have released their second episode. They're a bi-weekly I keep wanting to call it bi-weekly. They're an every other week podcast.
Yeah.
So every other week they'll release a new episode. So their second episode just dropped. Pretty neat. Their first one was their personal favorite movies, and this one was conspiracy theories. They're just talking about conspiracy theories. So
I like that.
And it's just random, and just one conversation and topic will lead to another one. So if that's kind of your thing, go check them out. They're trying to get verified by Apple, but they are on Spotify right now for sure. And I think they're on Google Podcasts as well.
Yeah. You've heard Brandon on here.
Yeah,
aka Turkey.
And of course Nick is a big proponent for the show. I think he's right up there with some of our biggest fans. So loves the show, and they're wanting us on their podcast sometime or another. We got to schedule that around. Of course, we want to get them on ours as well. So hopefully coming up we'll do that. I mentioned it last week. I'm rewatching Lost. I have also found
greatest show of all time.
I have also found a Lost podcast. It's kind of a comedy podcast, but I'm really enjoying it. That one's called Getting Lost. So I'm kind of watching it. As I watch the episodes, I'll listen because they do an episode by episode recap, and they'll just kind of throw their humor in with it too. So those guys are pretty good.
Pretty cool.
Of course, Finish the Fight, a Halo podcast. They've put out some episodes here lately. One of the latest ones was Halo Wars. Ooh. Halo Wars was a good one. So they go, step by step, just in depth as anything can be. They do a good job there. So go check them out. And I think that's all my plugs right now.
All right.
Caraway, I'm working on getting us some shirts, buddy. Even though Hammy's kind of meh about it. Hopefully I'll get you a shirt sent up that way pretty soon. So
Canadian Bacon, we're still waiting to hear from you.
We're still waiting to hear from our guy in Michigan, Wolverine. What do we want to call him? We never come up with a name. Well, he's never reached out.
He might be a Michigan State fan. He might have just assaulted him.
I might have. Sparty Reen. I don't know. So, but yeah, still enjoying doing this. Next week will be a little finagle just because it's kind of out of the norm with the Thanksgiving thing. But
yeah,
we're going to have a good episode. And then coming up, we got some other good episodes coming up. So stay tuned.
What's our next review?
Our next review, we've only mentioned a million times on this podcast, is going to be Mortal Kombat. We're going to review the 16-bit Mortal Kombat era.
Yep.
So we're going to do 1, 2, completely skip 3 because Hammy hates it. We're going to do Ultimate.
I don't hate 3. I just
it didn't
like
have Scorpion.
Ultimate better. Yeah, it didn't have Scorpion.
I mean, who doesn't put Scorpion in?
It's just, I don't know. It's
blasphemous. Strange. I think I've said blasphemous a million times on this podcast too. So anyway. So yeah, next week it'll be a Thanksgiving special. The week after will be Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. So stay tuned to Ham and Spam. Send all your questions. to us on social media. Trying to get the hashtag ham and spam going. So just tag hashtag ham and spam and anything. And we hope to hear from you soon. You got anything else, buddy?
No.
Well, I do. The only thing I want to say is cowabunga.